Eli Savoy. The first hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by Action247.com. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I got a piece of land out in the countryside. Lay back and smell the sun. Warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into another week of Sports 56 Middays, live and in color from the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of Interstate 40, the world's biggest spa sale going on right now at Family Leisure. When you stop by to check out those terrific spas, make sure to ask for an official Sports 56 mask while supplies last. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn on this Monday, November 2nd, 2020. Hope you had a great weekend. Of course, it was Halloween on Saturday. Tomorrow, the tricks and treats continue with Election Day. So it's going to be a very busy Tuesday. But we've got a busy Monday show planned for you today as we look back at the college football weekend, the NFL weekend. There's other news and notes to get to, some tidbits from college basketball, an announcement by the University of Memphis this morning that we'll get to as well. Barrett Sallee is back today. He'll join us at 11:05 to talk college football. And then the rest of the show, it's you guys and us. So if you have any comments or questions, concerns, you can always text in on the First Bank text line at 67129 during open segments. You can call us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255. Hour one of the program is brought to you by Action247.com. And, of course, yesterday, the first official day that people can gamble in the state of Tennessee on sports legally. And it was, I'm sure, a very, very busy day with a lot of people partaking in that. So that's the lineup for today. Again, Barrett Sallee will join us at 11:05. And then we'll do our 5 favorite songs at 12:05. Today's topic, you can use the word tell or telling. Told also can be used. You can send in your list via the First Bank text line at 67129. And if you're watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Hello, Eli Savoy. How was your weekend? Oh, can't hear you. Can't hear you. It was that quiet a weekend, I guess, for Eli. Gabe, how was your weekend?
It was good.
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Can't complain. Tigers game was a little rough, but we'll get to that.
I'm
sure we'll talk about that.
I would use a different word. I wouldn't use a little rough. There was a lot rough. We'll talk to that in just a second. We'll talk about the Tigers and all of college football while we're getting Eli straightened out. I do want to mention this announcement from the University of Memphis this morning. The U of M will host Memphis Madness. That'll be coming up a week from this Thursday, November 12th. 7 p.m. It'll be a virtual event to officially introduce the 2020-2021 men's and women's basketball teams to Tiger fans. The event will be free to watch via broadcast on the Memphis Tiger Network YouTube channel and is presented by Ashley Home Store. So Memphis Madness will be a 30-minute program introducing the players and coaches with Tiger student-athletes showcasing their skills throughout. The Memphis Pom and Cheer squads will also perform. And I would think because of with the COVID restrictions, obviously you're not going to have the usual Memphis Madness over at FedEx Forum, and this is the next best thing. You're going to be able to at least see those players on both the men's and women's squads that you haven't met yet. At least you'll see them and learn a little bit more about them virtually and get a chance to watch them. I don't know if they'll do the slam dunk and the three-point shooting and all that stuff, but at least there'll be something to get you acclimated to the Memphis Tigers men's and women's basketball teams. Now I believe we have Mr. Savoy.
Yes, do you have me now?
We have you loud and clear, and I'll go back to my original question, just the throwaway question. How was your weekend?
It was all right. Nothing special. Little Halloween. Handed out a little bit of candy, but yeah, nothing spectacular, nothing terrible. Had an unbelievably thrilling high school football game on Friday night that came down to the very final seconds and a touchdown on fourth down and then a 2-point conversion for the win by MBA. So a disappointing finish for Christian Brothers, but it was a fun game, that's for sure.
And wasn't that Kirk Herbstreit's son who caught the game-winning 2-point conversion?
Yes. Yep. A little shovel pass to Zach Herbstreit, and he got in for the 2-point conversion after they got the touchdown on a 4th and goal play.
Kirk was there, right?
Yes, I believe he was there. That's what I had heard. I did not see him because he was over on the other side. But yeah, I heard that he was there.
Then you jet him up to Happy Valley for the Ohio State-Penn State game, which we was on the call of. Actually, he was also on game day, so it was a quick turnaround. Get the old private jet, fly him up there to Pennsylvania, and he was ready to go on Saturday. Yeah, tough loss for the brothers. I was following you along on Twitter, on social media, but I'm sure it was a terrific call as usual. Unfortunately, a tough loss. And we also found out that the brothers' game against Briarcrest will not happen, correct?
Yeah, they will. They're not going to play this Friday. It was that was kind of thought that might happen if Briarcrest lost to MUS. Briarcrest has no chance to make the postseason. The postseason pretty much all set now, so the game was going to mean absolutely nothing, so they are not going to play it.
Well, I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a nice Halloween. I know a lot of families did things around home or in their neighborhood and really didn't take the kids out trick-or-treating through neighborhoods like they normally do. Some did. Some certainly did. There were innovative ways of handing out the candy in this environment that we live in right now with COVID-19. But hopefully everybody who did go out there had a good time. The kids got their treats and everybody was safe. As far as the weekend in sports, I thought it was an okay weekend. I didn't think there was anything that thrilling. Sure, there's some games that go down to the wire, some go to overtime. But I think it was a fairly eventful weekend when it comes to the football. There was some bad performances, which we'll get to in a second. There was a little bit of drama in some of the games, but I think for the most part, it was not this big drama-filled weekend, both in college football and in the National Football League. But we'll begin in college football, where the Memphis Tigers went to Cincinnati and knew it was going to be a tall task going up against the nationally ranked Bearcats. Of course, a team that Memphis knocked off twice last year, including a win in the American Conference Championship. But this was a very good top-to-bottom Cincinnati team, especially on the defensive side. I don't think anybody believed that the Tigers would get waxed the way they did, 49-10, being outscored in the second half of that game 28-0. It was the worst loss since the Larry Porter era for Memphis Tigers football. It wasn't a game in which they lost because they turned it over. The turnovers were one apiece. This was a game simply that Cincinnati controlled both lines of scrimmage and physically manhandled the Tigers. And I think that's the most disappointing part, is because against UCF, not a real physical team, but fairly physical. They got good athletes, some that will go on to play in the NFL. Memphis was as physical or more physical. Then against Temple, always a physical team, more physical than they are talent. They always have guys that go to the NFL. Memphis matched and exceeded their physicality. Against Cincinnati, it just wasn't there. And I think the key, Eli, in a game that's 49-10, it's a blowout. It's hard to find, this is where they lost it. But to start the second half, Memphis had the drive. Brady White deciding to slide as opposed to dive for a first down. And then the pass interference call that was not called, that most people believe it happened. And we saw it on the replay, and the announcers talk about it 10 times. Could have been the difference. They could have scored there, would have made it 21-17. Maybe it's different, but once Cincinnati put a couple of touchdowns on the board, I think the Tigers, I don't want to use the word quit, but defensively they weren't ready to match the physicality of Cincinnati, and they ended up steamrolling. And it was very disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, the Cincinnati defense, the numbers were good. Wanted to see them kind of, when we just looked at what they did to SMU. I mean, SMU's got a very good offense, very similar to Memphis's offense, and they held them to 13 points the week prior. So you knew it was going to be very good. Wanted to see them, though, kind of live and see just exactly how good they were, and they were every bit as good as I thought they were. The defensive front is outstanding. Ahmad Gardner in the secondary is really, really good. That is one heck of a defense, which is weird because that isn't what has won the American Athletic Conference in the years past. It's been about offense, and their offense is pretty good. Desmond Ridder does a lot of good things, but boy, their defense is legit.
Yeah, they are a really good defense, and that's why you and I were talking before the show. And I said, look, right now in college football, and we still haven't even seen the Pac-12 teams. They'll be starting up this week, and it's just such an odd year. But it's pretty obvious that Clemson, even with their number 2 quarterback is formidable. Alabama, even losing Jalen Waddle, is formidable. And Ohio State in their 2 games looked terrific with Justin Fields. They are 3 teams that are above the rest. I don't think we're going to get much of an argument. But that 4th team for the playoff, which never comes out of the group of 5, but I think right now on November 2nd, we can at least have that discussion that Cincinnati is as good as Notre Dame, Georgia. We'll see what happens with Oregon, USC, at least from what I've seen so far. Now, who knows? Maybe they go up against a Georgia and get waxed. But if Desmond Ridder can play the way he did against Memphis, against those teams, they have a chance. Now, going up against the Memphis secondary, it makes every quarterback look great. And Desmond Ridder is not a great quarterback. He's an efficient quarterback. But when you go 21 to 26 for 271 and 3 touchdowns, and then you can do what he did on the ground, Ridder added 50 yards or 41 net yards and 2 touchdowns, you're a formidable foe for anybody. So I think his Cincinnati team is legit. Will they get that chance? Will this be the year in a crazy, crazy year because of COVID? I don't know. It's not out of the question this year, but normally it is out of the question. I guess a lot will depend on this Saturday with Notre Dame playing Clemson. If Notre Dame wins that game, well, they're firmly in there. And then, of course, Georgia and Florida play in Jacksonville. But Cincinnati, I don't know who knocks them off from the American.
It's going to be tough. I mean, they've already gone through SMU and Memphis, obviously 2 of the better teams there. They've got they're again with that defense, they're going to be really tough to beat, I think, within the conference. Offensively, they're good. They're certainly not great offensively, but they're good enough offensively to complement that defense.
Yeah, they're limited. They're a run-first type of team, and they had Ford go for 116, Dokes at 77. They did a good enough job, but a lot of those yards were when the game was already over. And again, Memphis, the effort wasn't 100% on defense trying to tackle those Cincinnati running backs, and they ended up breaking through big holes and getting big chunks of yardage and touchdowns. But it's still a solid offense. It's a great defense. Now,
they've got Houston, they're at UCF, and they're at Tulsa. Then they've got Temple and East Carolina too. I don't see either one of those 2 being that big of a deal, but
challenges. Certainly.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly there are some potholes ahead on their path to an undefeated regular season. See, the other thing, as far as getting into playoff or whatever, for that to even again, this year is who knows what might end up happening. We shall see, but. In a normal year, at least if you have some out-of-conference games against some Power 5 opponents, you actually have some comparison. Like you say, oh, look, we beat this team who, maybe they're not the best team in that conference, but they're a middle-of-the-pack team, and we beat them and all that. With no games against Power 5 opponents to kind of really compare against, I think it makes it even that much more difficult, even though because of the weird circumstances, Cincinnati's already a top 10 team in the polls this early in the year, which you don't often see from a non-Power 5 team.
Yeah, that's why I say this year could be a difference maker because of everything that's going on. I mean, they're number 6 in the nation. Okay, they're number 6 in the nation. And I'm talking about an undefeated Cincinnati team as opposed to a 1-loss Notre Dame, 1-loss Georgia, 1-loss Oregon. And we'll see if those things transpire. But you're right, there's some potholes ahead. There's some tough opponents left in the conference for Cincinnati. Now, going back to what Memphis did, Brady White, 18 of 35, 316 yards and a touchdown. Brady White was pressured. He didn't have open receivers. And the running game for the Tigers was non-existent. They were outrushed in that game, net yards, 242 to 5. 5. You have no chance. So Brady had a tough game because he didn't have any help at all. Still threw for over 300 yards. Calvin Austin is still the man. 7 catches for 121 yards. But now you look ahead to what Memphis has. Starting with USF this Saturday at 11 o'clock, which is a game that they're probably 95% chance that they win the game, unless there's a big old hangover. And I don't think Ryan Silverfield will have that team hung over. All the games left on that schedule, Memphis will probably be a favorite. Wouldn't you think Memphis will still be a favorite at Navy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think there will be. I mean, unless they have some other really bad stumbles between now and then, I think they will be absolutely a favorite at Navy.
Right. If they lost this Saturday to USF, for instance, then it could be different. But USF at Navy, then you have a non-conference game against Stephen F. Austin. Then you have to play at Tulane, and Tulane's had their struggles, although still score a lot of points. And then Houston comes to Memphis. So these are all games that are winnable. They're all games I think Memphis will be favored. So I was looking up the standings yesterday and the schedules and things of that nature. And Tulsa got a big break on Friday night when they got screwed over by the American Conference officials, and East Carolina should have won the game. So that should have been their first loss in conference. It wasn't. But with that said, SMU and Tulsa are the obstacles. Because let's just assume for a second, I know you shouldn't assume, but let's assume that Memphis beats Navy, they beat Houston. You don't have to worry about those teams. You're basically worried about Tulsa and SMU. You've already lost to SMU once, right? You already lost to them. SMU has one loss, so one less loss than the Tigers. So in essence, you're 2 games behind SMU. And Tulsa, you're 2 games behind because they're undefeated in the conference. But there are some big games still left on the schedule for Tulsa. SMU, not so much, except they play Houston and they play at Tulsa. So Tulsa needs to beat SMU. They need to beat SMU because if you look at SMU's schedule, they got 2 what you would consider gimmies and then 2 tough games, or at least what you think would be close games against Houston and at Tulsa, where they may end up being an underdog in that game. So it's still possible for the Tigers to get into the championship game and get another shot at Cincinnati, assuming Cincinnati doesn't stumble, and nobody would believe that would happen. But it's still a chance. There's still a chance. They have to regroup. Obviously, they got to take care of their own business and get a lot of help. And one of the teams they really need help from is Houston because they play both SMU and Tulsa, and then Memphis plays Houston in the final game of the regular season.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult because the winner of the SMU Tulsa game, it's going to be hard it's going to be hard to pass that winner is the problem. And I don't know how the tiebreaker would work against Tulsa with Memphis not playing them. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure exactly if they start with the next best team and work down. I don't know for sure. I'd have to look that up because they're not playing each other. But the winner of the SMU Tulsa game is going to be probably difficult for the Tigers to pass.
Well, here's SMU's final. They only have 4 more games. They play at Temple. And if I'm not mistaken, Anthony Russo did not play for Temple this past weekend. They got clobbered at Tulane. They scored 3 points. I'm not sure what the deal was with that. Then they play at Tulsa. That's the game I've been talking about. Then they host Houston and at East Carolina. East Carolina's improved, right? And the game's in Greenville. But let's assume, again, just looking at the crystal ball, they beat Temple to beat East Carolina. SMU has to lose both those games. They have to lose to Tulsa and they lose to Houston. That would give them 3 losses, right? Memphis has 2 losses. Now you go, and let me quickly find Tulsa's schedule, which is more formidable than SMU's schedule. And if I could pull this up real quick, Gabe, maybe you'll beat me to it, getting the Tulsa schedule.
They've got Houston, they've got Cincinnati, They've got SMU, and I don't remember what the other one is.
Yeah, there you go. You got Cincinnati. You figure that's a loss. Even if they beat SMU, you have Houston. That would be a second loss. So, again, that's what I was trying to figure out last night. What would happen if it was a tie? If Memphis and Tulsa both had 2 losses, they don't play each other.
They also have Navy and Tulane. So, I mean, it's possible they could drop one of those as well. It's going to be tough down the stretch for Tulsa.
Exactly. And, again, if the American Conference officials did their job, Tulsa would already have the 1 loss. They should have lost East Carolina. East Carolina got screwed. But I guess the point I'm making is that Memphis still has a chance. It's going to be really, really tough to get into the conference championship game, but it's possible. This was 1 game, and they got destroyed. So the chasm now between Cincinnati and Memphis is scary because Memphis was the dominant team last year, and just 1 season later, they got demolished. So that, for the long haul, is worrisome. It's worrisome. But for the time being, for this year, for the present, it doesn't mean Memphis is a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. They just got clocked on Saturday. And if they win all their games, they still have a chance.
I'm not real sure Memphis wants to play Cincinnati again.
They may not want to, but if you can get back to the conference championship game, at least you have a long shot chance of defending your title, and at least it means you're the second best team in the conference. The
thing is, it's right now. It's hard to envision anybody in the conference beating Cincinnati,
right?
And now there's a recency there, like we just watched what they did to. UCF is probably going to score against just about anybody, but they've now held SMU to 13. They held Memphis to 10, and now they still have to play UCF. If they hold UCF to like 10 points, then by golly, like that defense is. It might be the best defense in the country.
And there's only a few good defenses right now in the country if you look around.
It's hard to hold UCF to anything less than 30 is virtually impossible. So if they can shut down the UCF offense, if they go through SMU, Memphis, and UCF and don't hardly allow anything offensively, that would be you can't. That one you could say, all right, just tip your cap to them. That you talk about earning a conference championship. They'll have gone through all of the other best teams, quote unquote, in the conference during the regular season.
And since he's doing it with style points too, that's the one thing I want to point out. They beat Army, obviously, who was a ranked team at the time. SMU, who was ranked, but they beat. Their closest game is 14 points against Army. And against SMU and Memphis, these conference opponents beaten by 29 and then 39 in consecutive weeks. They're making their case this year.
And Army has destroyed everybody they've played except for Cincinnati. And I know their opponents haven't been that formidable, but they have made those games look easy. So Cincinnati beating them by 14 is a feather in their cap.
If they go undefeated through the regular season, Army's pretty good, and they're difficult to play because of the style. But again, in the conference, if you listed all the best teams in the conference other than Cincinnati plays every one of them during the regular season.
Right.
They play UCF, SMU, Memphis, and Tulsa all during the regular season, and will have to, in all likelihood, play somebody in a rematch in the championship game.
Right. Not in likelihood, they would have to, because they play everybody once, like you said.
One of those teams.
Oh, one of those four.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than likely it would be. All right. Lawn Solutions is a locally owned weed control fertilization company that serves the greater Memphis area. Brandon Holly is the owner of the company, and he has a team of professionals that can take care of your lawn, and they do it all year long. Check them out online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. Give them a call at 901-867-5626. When you talk to Brandon, tell him I sent you. They'll kill the weeds, get you that greener, plush lawn that your neighbors will be envious of. They will control the germination of weeds all year long. They're applying pre-emergence during the winter months and post-emergence during the summer months. So when spring is sprung, those weeds aren't sprung. It's a lot easier to prevent the weeds from popping up than it is to kill them, but they could do that as well. They could take care of any disease your lawn has or any insect infestation. So for that beautiful lawn, it's Lawn Solutions. LawnSolutionsinc.net on the web, 901-867-5626. Ask for Brandon. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Middays.
We've got some text messages here on the First Bank text line we'll get to coming up. If you want to text in, you can, 67129. That's 67129 for the First Bank text line. You can also call in, 360-8255 is the First Bank phone line. If you want to comment on the Tigers and the demolishing that took place at the hands of the Bearcats up in Cincinnati. Got some text on the defense, which is, there's some big-time questions on that Tigers defense, no doubt about it.
And then we'll dive into the SEC and elsewhere around the nation, what happened on Saturday in college football and what's ahead to a very important college football Saturday this upcoming week. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection? Right now, Conway Service is offering our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system for only $69. That's right, for only $69, we'll come out and perform our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system. We'll also include a complete safety inspection using our state-of-the-art camera system, making sure your heating system is safe to operate this winter. Plus, we'll run a carbon monoxide test on your heating system, all for only $69. If that's not enough, as your smart home provider will include a free Nest Hub with your paid tune-up while supplies last. You can have the peace of mind knowing your heating system is safe and ready to use on those cold winter nights. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week, and we'll perform your heating system tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
The Big Green Egg is in a league all its own. From lifetime warranty to ceramic, can't rust, won't rust. The patented ceramic insulates and radiates heat back to your food better than any other material on the market. Retain more moisture in foods. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, grill, and more. Save and reuse charcoal, saving you money. Easy, accurate temperature control. Greatest temperature range of any grill. Taste the difference. Ask anyone that has had food off a Big Green Egg. Make your next grill your last with Big Green Egg.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical-grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
Hey, sports fans, you already know about the great steaks at the Butcher Shop Steakhouse, a Memphis tradition since 1981. They specialize in hand-cut aged beef right over that hickory charcoal. But did you know the Butcher Shop also has great seafood items, from fresh Atlantic salmon with dill sauce, pan-seared red snapper with sautéed shrimp and Cajun cream sauce, Canadian cold water lobster tails, crab-stuffed shrimp, homemade lump crab cakes, and a whole lot more. Oh, and don't forget the Fresh Burger Fridays for only $8.95. Come in, enjoy a fantastic dinner at the Butcher Shop. If you need a great private party, the Butcher Shop is your place. 6 different private rooms, seating from 12 to 250, all equipped with audio-visual. Rehearsals, business dinners, luncheon, weddings. You call the Butcher Shop at 901-757-4244. Or you can visit the website at butchershop.com. Just drop in, 107 South Germantown Parkway.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Because I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Hour 1 of the program. Starting the show talking Tigers from Saturday as they got waxed by Cincinnati 49-10. We'll dive into the rest of the college football weekend with our good friend Barrett Salee at 11:05. Then we'll talk some National Football League as well. We got some text to read and some tweets to read as well. I got a text, Eli. It says, Saturday was very confusing for me as far as the Tigers go. I'm not quite sure what to think of them. Defensively, they're awful, and offensively, they're so-so. Is it coaching, talent, or a lack thereof? I want to like Ryan Silverfield, but I'm still on the fence. What do you think?
Listen, the thing you have to remember is just look at what talent they lost for various reasons. I mean, that's hard. Again, we're kind of getting spoiled here, and we think that it doesn't matter who leaves. Like, there's just somebody else to replace them, and this offense is going to keep on clicking. But I mean, goodness gracious, they had their two best returning skill players both opt out of the season. I mean, just think if you have Gainwell and Coxie out there, it could be different. But I mean, that is massive losses. Like, that's just hard to overcome when you're a group of 5 team and you don't have a bunch of 5-star guys just to say, all right, next guy up and he's going to be great. That's asking an awful lot.
These are NFL players. These are NFL caliber players. Just look at the team that lined up offensively for the Cotton Bowl against Penn State. And now look at who's gone. You lost like all the skill guys except for Brady White.
Yeah, I'm thinking like all of the production, basically all of the touchdowns from that team are gone. And you look at, Cincinnati, they've got pretty much their entire defense back from last year. Like they brought and they've got their quarterback back. They brought a bunch of guys back. Memphis lost a bunch of guys, and then with guys opting out and other things, that's just difficult to just. And again, I know we're getting used to it because we saw, Anthony Miller leave, things were fine. Darrell Henderson leaves, things are fine. But at some point, it's got to catch up with you when you're a group of 5 school.
Well, again, they're still scoring a lot of points. They just didn't do so against Cincinnati. Defensively, obviously, is the issue. The T.J. Carter injury hurts, but it doesn't mean T.J. Carter in the secondary starting makes this team a great secondary. They have some issues. Is it personnel? Is it scheme? We got a new defensive coordinator in Mike McIntyre. There's a lot of questions out there. But I think Ryan Silverfield's the guy for the job. Offensively, the play calling is not, to me, any different than what we saw with Mike Norvell from Kevin Johns. Do you think it's drastically different, Gabe?
No. Not at all. The one thing I will say, and this goes back to what Eli just mentioned, you don't have a home run hitting running back, and that was a big part of Mike Norvell's tenure. Is he had Darrell Henderson, he had Tony Pollard, and then he had
Antonio Gibson,
and Kenny Gainwell for the year last year, and he was the definition of a home run hitter. And you don't have that this year. And you also have a couple of young pieces on that O-line still trying to get used to it.
Your number one offensive weapon is a 5'9" receiver who's been unbelievable. But come on, man. Teams start to double him up and get physical with him. They take him away. Clark's done a pretty good job. He's a really good running back, but Clark is not yet in that league of the guys you just rattled off. And Brady White at times is running for his life. Brady White did not have a lot of time to throw, and when he had time to throw on Saturday, the receivers weren't open. And that's a credit to Cincinnati secondary.
No, yeah, again, they've got Gardner is one of the best, in the nation at corner. And then they've got those defensive ends get after you. They don't have to bring a bunch of blitzes and stuff to get pressure on you.
Yeah.
They can do it with their front 4, and when you can do that and drop guys into coverage, it certainly helps. On the First Bank text line, somebody says Cincinnati just needs a couple of teams to stumble to get in the playoff. They would give any top teams all they want, could possibly beat any top teams in college football. Yeah, again, their defense is good enough to keep them in games and have a chance. They're certainly, I don't believe, anywhere near the category of Clemson and Alabama and Ohio State, and we saw last year what happened when they played Ohio State. They got absolutely demolished. It wasn't even a game at all. What was it, 40? What did that game end up, 48-0 or something like that?
Yeah, let's not get crazy about they can play with anybody. No, there's 3 teams that they can't play with. Those 3 teams are so far ahead of everybody else, it's pathetic. But that 4th spot is wide open, and that's where I think the texter's right. That Cincinnati, because I know what Georgia can do. I see their deficiencies. It's offensively. I've seen the deficiencies in Notre Dame. Now, they could change the whole narrative if they beat Clemson on Saturday. We'll see what Oregon can do or USC can do. But I would agree with Cincinnati is in that mix for the 4th spot. But the top 3 spots, those teams aren't losing.
See, the thing, too, we'll know in a couple more weeks when the playoff committee comes out with their first rankings and we see what where they put Cincinnati. That's going to decide the whole thing of whether they actually have a chance or not is going to be based a lot of those first rankings, because if they put them at like 6th or 7th, well, yes, then you have a chance. If they keep them at like 12th, 13th, they're probably not getting there.
It's ludicrous if you would take a team right now that's number 6 in both polls and start out your thing with Cincinnati at 13 or 12. That would be absolutely ridiculous. But remember, here's the other thing too. If Clemson loses Saturday, they're not dropping below 4.
No, not with that. If they playing without
Trevor Lawrence,
they're going to get, I'm sure, a bit of a pass for that.
It's just going to really help Notre Dame solidify that 4th spot.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I mean, they'd be ahead of Clemson, but one of the 4 spots is the point I'm making. You would have pretty much a clear path for Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame to be your playoff teams.
And there's a good chance of what would happen then is that you would get a Clemson-Notre Dame rematch in the championship game. Clemson wins that when they have Trevor Lawrence, and those two teams go 1-1 against each other. And
right.
Then and it's pretty simple. Another text here says, ever so often a team has a magical year and others have to rebuild. Last year it was Memphis, before that UCF. Now it is Cincinnati. Yeah, I mean, this is a good time. I mean, this has worked out well for Cincinnati. Cincinnati, again, has so much back, while all of these other teams lost a bunch of guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this has worked out well. And listen, Luke Fickell's a hell of a coach. Like he's good, and they're going to be good. He's probably going to leave in the next couple of years and go get a better, bigger job somewhere. He had a chance, turned down Michigan State and others. But I mean, Luke Fickell, the dude obviously can coach.
But we're getting into that scary position where we expect Memphis to be the group of 5 New Year's 6 representative every year, because we got a taste of that last year. And Memphis should be in the hunt. But the person's right. When it comes to a magical year, they only come so often. Good years, or even great years, you hope they happen a lot more than they don't. And Memphis is still having a very good year and could still have a really good year. It's just not a magical year, as that texter indicated. But I think we're going to get to that point where we expect Memphis to have a magical year every year.
So I just think it's talent on the Tigers' defense. I don't want to pull the plug on the defensive coach. Mike McIntyre certainly knows how to coach. We know that. But yeah, I mean, this defense, they're awful. Like they
weren't great last year either.
They are just like, there are receivers just running wide open continuously.
Yes.
Like it's amazing, like how often the guy goes to throw deep and the camera pans over there and there's just some guy running by himself and you're like, how in the world is it? Are you just completely confused on what you're supposed to do? What is going on the back end?
Well, let's remember, a lot of the players on defense are the same guys from last year. A lot of the guys are back. And last year they had their problems, but they came up big in crunch time. They made some big plays when games were on the line. Now you have a new defensive coordinator and a new scheme, a new system, right? So that's got to take some time. But you're 5 games in now, and you're right, Eli. To watch that game, you saw guys that were wide open. You have secondary players looking at each other going, I thought you were going to be there. I thought you were going to be there. There's still confusion. And then the other problem is giving these guys so much cushion. And that's always been an issue and a question mark for me, is why give these guys the cushion you're giving them off the line? I mean,
Do you not see how often they get beat deep?
I know, but man,
why do you think they're giving them a cushion?
Because if you chuck in the first 5 yards, maybe you get the timing off a little bit on the route and then on the quarterback and his delivery, especially when Desmond Ridder, you're not going to confuse him normally with Aaron Rodgers, but I think on Saturday you thought he was Aaron Rodgers. I've always been one for physicality right at the line to get a little chuck in there, but they elect not to do that. But Memphis has never done that. I don't care who the defensive coordinator is. They've always given that cushion because they don't trust their guys to be able to cover deep.
Another one says losing Tim Hart and LaAndre Thomas on defense hurt too.
Yeah,
there were a couple of there's a couple of costly losses on the defensive side of the ball, along with the offensive side. Now, obviously, way more was lost offensively than defensively, but I also don't know that Tim Hart and Landry Thomas were going to change it that drastically. And this is the worst defense in the country by a wide margin right now.
Yeah, they were good players, solid players. They weren't difference makers. It's the same defensive line. It's Dorcius. It's O'Brien Goodson. You got the same guys in the secondary, except Carter's hurt.
Now, the good thing, USF does not throw the ball well at all. If USF toasts them through the air, then there's some serious problems.
Hey, here's the thing. I know this is funny, like to most people when they hear this, you're going to laugh. But if I'm Navy, I'm chucking the ball. I'm throwing the ball. I'm setting a record for pass attempts if I'm Navy. That's what I'm doing in 2 weeks when they play Memphis.
Well, I mean, anybody should be throwing until they prove that they can stop anybody. I mean, you saw obviously Cincinnati, when they came out and threw the ball, their first 10 plays or whatever.
Right, it's exactly what I thought they would do.
They were clearly okay, let's just see if they can actually stop this. And how about that? They can't. They're just that bad.
The week prior, Anthony Russo threw the ball 63 times.
John texts in. He says Liberty finally got some respect this week. They got a little bit of respect. I guess they got into the top 25 on. Was it the AP?
AP poll. They weren't in the coaches poll.
Yeah, they're still not in there in the coaches poll. But they got Virginia Tech this week.
Yeah,
so if they want to earn respect, they can do it this week.
Yeah, Virginia Tech's a solid team. And obviously Justin Fuentes, their coach, former Tigers coach. They're not a great team, but this would be a nice win for Liberty. They would be solidly in the top 25. But they haven't really been ranked up until now is because the combined record of the teams they've beaten is awful. I mean, their records are awful. The teams, they take nothing away from Hugh Freeze and what Liberty's done, but they've beaten up on some bad teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's Western Kentucky, Florida International, Louisiana Monroe, Syracuse, Southern Miss. It's
Louisiana Monroe's winless. Florida International, I think, is winless. Yeah, exactly.
But they get Virginia Tech. They still got NC State, and they've got Coastal Carolina.
Yeah,
so they've got plenty ahead of them to try and prove if they're legit.
You win those games, you're probably going to be around 10 to 12 in the rankings.
Dude, Coastal Carolina is good.
Yeah, they destroyed what I thought was an okay Georgia State team.
They were a 3-point favorite in that game. They won 51-0 as a 3-point favorite. Georgia Southern's pretty darn good.
How does that happen? Coastal freaking Carolina.
You talk about defenses. That defense can play. They've got the one linebacker dude is unbelievable, and they've got a guy at every level that is really really good.
And that coach,
they have that
team, coach is really good. He's up and coming. That's a guy who I think is going to get he's going to get some looks at some big time programs. All right, Landmark Construction and Emergency Services is one of our terrific sponsors, and if you have any water damage at your home, in your home, or at your business, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for you. You need to get that standing water out of there, and you need to do it fast. The faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent the secondary damage, which sometimes is the worst. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. That's what they do. They've been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call. They will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies. They're the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services, well, they can't prevent disasters in your home or at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. So if you have those water issues, please call Landmark Construction and Emergency Services at 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org. More college football discussion when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5.
Start your day the right way with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane on Sports 56 Mornings. Weekdays from 7 to 10 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Action247.com is your Tennessee sportsbook for same-day pay. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. Win a little or win a lot. Action247 has same-day pay. The other guys make you wait for your winnings. No more waiting with Action247 same-day pay. Visit us online at Action247.com. Local, legal. Action247. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. And yes, indeed, yesterday was the start of the legalized gambling, sports betting here in the state of Tennessee. And Action247.com is open for business. They do still have their free games up, too. You can still play free games on there where you can win cash, and it costs you absolutely nothing. But the sportsbook also open, and you can check that all out. Action, the number is 247.com. Somebody says, statistically, Ole Miss's defense is one of the worst in the country, but I think Vandy's is much worse. I mean, statistics can always be a little deceiving, but Vandy is just overall terrible. There is no redeeming quality about Vanderbilt's football team.
Again, unless they don't want to make changes because of the financial implications in a year when we're dealing with this pandemic, there's no reason to keep Derek Mason. And I've always been a fan of Derek Mason, but they've gotten worse and worse. And now the defense, which he's always hung his hat on, he's a defensive guy, is bad. The offense has always been bad. You got to make a change if you're Vanderbilt. I mean,
they are.
You just want to wallow in the mire? I mean, come on.
That is one of the worst football teams you'll see. Like, they don't do anything well at all.
No, they don't.
Like, there's not. You go, well, no, nothing. That's their defense. I feel for their defense because their offense gives them no help. Like, the offense is just putrid.
Yes,
and
but the defense got manhandled.
And the defense had, you talk about receivers running wide open. Holy cow. Like, that was unbelievable. Like, it didn't matter what you could. Matt Corral literally had like 5 choices to throw to on every play, and every one of them was wide open. They had no chance at guarding Elijah Moore. Like, Elijah Moore, if they wanted to, Elijah Moore could have easily broken the record for receiving yards in a game. He could have caught 20 balls for 500 yards because they could not guard him.
It seemed like there was 2 Elijah Moores out on the field at the same time on every play. He had 14 catches for 238 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, Matt Corral is kind of weird. Like, one week he'll throw 6 picks, and then the next week he'll come back and throw 6 touchdowns. He was 31 of 34 for 412 yards and 6 touchdowns. Again, it's Vanderbilt. They are at least normally decent on defense. That is pathetic. Again, if they don't make a change, it's because of either – I don't know what Derek Mason has left on his contract. And, again, I'm not – sitting here telling them, yes, you have to fire a guy. I don't want anybody to lose their job. But in this world of coaches lose jobs all the time and there's a lot of movement, how can you accept this? Because now you can't even stay in games with your defense. Your offense is pathetic, and now your defense is pathetic. All right, from the NFL, we're going to talk about the games from Sunday a little bit later on the show. But there is news on the COVID front. Cliff Kingsbury has confirmed that 2 Arizona Cardinals have tested positive for COVID-19. Now, they didn't play over the weekend. They had a bye week. But Marlon Humphrey has just tweeted out, Marlon Humphrey of the Baltimore Ravens, I got the Rona. Hopefully I'll be healthy soon. So Marlon Humphrey tests positive. He just played. The Ravens just played the Steelers yesterday. So that's a little bit scary as well. The NFL's done a real nice job in being able to maneuver around it, reschedule when they have to. They've done a great job with testing, but you start to wonder now because we've had this second wave of COVID-19 running rampant, not only in our country, around the world. Hell, England shutting down the country for a month. So I'm a little concerned about that. You know, Humphrey playing in the game yesterday, what does that mean for his teammates? What does it mean for the Steelers in a great game that we'll talk about later on in the show? Also, before we go to the timeout, we lost 2 people over the weekend. I think we lost a lot more than 2 people, but 2 people that are known to many. Number 1, from the world of entertainment, Sean Connery passed away at the age of 90. I had no idea Sean Connery was that old. The former James Bond.
You didn't? Really?
I thought he was maybe 80, Sean Connery.
I was honestly amazed at 92.
Yeah, I just, 90, man. Seemed like The Untouchables was 3 years ago. It was like probably 25 years ago. But one of the great actors and a great James Bond. And then former Oklahoma basketball coach Billy Tubbs died yesterday at the age of 85. So another sports figure of significance that has passed away. Billy Tubbs was a hell of a coach. When he coached those teams with Wayman Tisdale, and Oklahoma was a power in college basketball. So Billy Tubbs passes away at the age of 85. And again, the actor Sean Connery at the age of 90. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll kick things off with Barrett Sallee. We'll talk about the college football landscape, what's going on with Clemson as they get ready now to take on Notre Dame. What about Dan Mullen in the Florida-Missouri brawl yesterday? Should he be punished for being an instigator in that? So all things college football with Barrett. We'll come back and dive into some NFL as well. Look at the games from yesterday, preview tonight's game. Of course, tonight's game will be heard right here on Sports 56, the Buccaneers and the Giants, with the pregame starting at 7 o'clock. 1 hour in the books. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park. When you visit Navy Liquor at 7866 Highway 51 in Millington, you'll be treated like family by friendly, knowledgeable staff. Select are your favorite bourbon, vodka, scotch, beer, tequila, gin, and rum, as well as wines from all over the world. An amazing selection of sakis, too. Coldest beer in town. Beer kegs are available. Any beer, any wine, any liquor. You got the Navy Liquor hookup. Come see us, holiday or any other occasion. Navy Liquor, corner of Highway 51 and Navy Road in Millington.
Did you know Prilosec OTC can stop frequent heartburn before it begins? Yep, I said before. Block heartburn at the source by taking the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. With just 1 pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn relief. That's all day. Start the 2-week challenge today at prilosecotc.com and live heartburn-free. Just 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
It's football time in Memphis, and if you or someone you know is thinking of selling their home, it sure better be home selling time in Memphis. And just like you may have a favorite team, favorite coach, or favorite players, you may not have a favorite real estate agent. If you don't, think about drafting me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I always tell people they need to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers to find out who will be the best quarterback of their home selling team. Have you heard people say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon? Find out why my award-winning, highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. Also find out how to take advantage of our worldwide relocation network. Call or email me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now, and go Tigers.
Advance is helping you get your engine ready for the road this holiday season with the right oil, the right filter, at the right price every day. Get 5 quarts of full synthetic Mobil 1, Valvoline, Castrol Edge, or Pennzoil Platinum with the Mobil 1 oil filter for just $33.99. Plus, this holiday season, get a $25 NBA store gift card and 2 times Speed Perks points instantly with the purchase of 5 quarts of Mobil 1. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
Chad Gatlin is your Mid-South Farmers agent, and he's easy to find. Just go to memphisfarmers.com to get a fast quote or call his office at 901-237-1176. And during this wild time we're all facing, know Chad has you covered. Whether you need to file a claim, get a quote, or just talk about what he can do to give you the absolute best coverage at the best price. Chad is a Memphis man and knows the area and that everyone is different, and he will work to make sure you have everything you need and nothing you don't. Get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com or call 901-235-1176.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Living on a lighted stage approaches the unreal.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:01 is the time. Hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Middays, the Monday, November 2nd, 2020 edition. Welcome to November. Cold morning, but it's going to warm up later this week. In fact, we're talking about 70 degrees or thereabouts for Saturday's Tigers game against the USF Bulls. Now, against 11 o'clock kickoff, so it might be a little bit colder than that early. But as that game progresses in the afternoon, 70s is what they're calling for.
I like the fact the weather's going to warm up. I hate the fact that we had to go and turn our damn clocks back, but I just don't understand it. I think we've moved past that. I think our world has evolved past the turning the clocks back.
Yeah, there's something to say about sunshine. When it starts to get dark at 4:30, it's a little depressing. Greg, Eli, and Gabe, we are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Second hour of the program is brought to you by the Window Genie, a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. And right now, they are offering you holiday lighting. They'll customize it, install it, maintain it, and store it away. Give Kate Robertson a call and find out more about that. They'll come out and do a free estimate. Kate Robertson is the go-to for the Window Genie in the Memphis area. 901-424-4100 or online at windowgenie.com. genie.com. I did not realize this until I watched or looked at my Twitter feed here over the last 5 minutes, but today is the 1-year anniversary of College Game Day coming to Memphis.
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
The world has changed a little bit since then.
Just a little bit. Things are a little bit different now than what they were 1 year ago. That is for sure. But yeah, that's the epic historic day in the history of Memphis football. 1 year ago today.
The only thing that's the same is that at least there's college football being played. At least the sport is having games. Everything else is different. Everything else about it. But at least they're playing games. And every Monday we talk college football with our good friend Barrett Sallee.
It's time to talk some college football on Sports 56 Middays. Joining Greg and Eli is Barrett Sallee from CBSSports.com, CBS Sports HQ, and SiriusXM Radio. Now, here's Barrett with Greg and Eli.
He is Barrett Sallee, as Mr. Announcer Man said, college football writer for CBS Sports. You can watch him on television on CBS Sports HQ, listen to him on SiriusXM College Radio, and make sure to follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee. He joins us every Monday during the college football season. Hello, Barrett.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing fine. With the COVID, did you take the kids out trick-or-treating or just end up staying at home, go to a party? What'd you end up doing?
Oh, we went trick-or-treating. I didn't go because I was doing the post-game show for LSU Auburn, but we had full-on trick-or-treating. There was a giant party on Saturday night at a neighbor's house, at a cul-de-sac kind of party after the fact. But we were. It's honestly, it's been life as normal around these parts for 4 or 5 months now. So I will say that. My office is right by my front door, and I put candy in a bucket, and I put a sign on the front door that said, "Do not ring doorbell," and put a sign over the doorbell that said, "Do not ring doorbell." And all these little punks kept ringing my doorbell while I'm on TV. Like, that's just bad parenting. They're disrespectful. Either they can't read, which is bad schooling, or they're extremely disrespectful, which is bad parenting.
Yeah,
See, look at you.
I'm guessing that was defiance. If you
Yes.
wouldn't have had a
Yes.
sign, they probably would have. You would have had less ringing without a sign than you did with the sign.
Barrett's Barrett's blaming the little rugrats, but if he doesn't point that out, they're not ringing the damn doorbell.
It's funny because
Well, if I'd have just put the bucket out and said take 5 pieces, nobody would have rang the doorbell. But they all saw the sign and they were like, "Screw you."
We had. My wife, she's a genius. We had a candy chute, so and I was the one responsible for handing out the candy. So we had this 8-foot tube. The kid, and there was a little sign that said "Stand here" at the end of the tube, and so they just put their bucket underneath the tube, and I stayed at the other end of the tube, and I just shoot the candy down to them. But it was funny. Like some of the kids thought it was like a trick. Like they see the "Stand here" sign, and they're like, "I'm not standing there," and I'm like, "No. You got to go stand there. Go stand there. Put your bucket underneath there. Here comes the candy," and then they're all like, "Oh wow, that's pretty cool." So I was like, "Yeah." So I never had to come within 8 feet of a kid. It worked out well.
Well,
that's pretty solid.
For Clemson, it worked out well in the end. Trailed Boston College at the half, 28-13. It looked like they were in big-time trouble. No Trevor Lawrence, but then they were able to rally and win the game over BC. And then we got the news after the game from Dabo Swinney that Trevor Lawrence won't be able to go at Notre Dame. So that puts a little pressure on the young man DJ Uiagalelei, who I thought did a pretty darn good job. 30 of 41, 342, couple of touchdowns through the air, 6 rushes, 23 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. What did you think of his performance, and what are you expecting this Saturday in South Bend?
Oh, I thought he was awesome. They clearly didn't hold back the playbook. They clearly trusted him from the outset to run the basic offense, the same offense that Trevor Lawrence runs, and he performed well. That dude's got a cannon. There's a reason they were so excited about him, and he showed it against Boston College. And so moving forward with Notre Dame, honestly, I don't think that storyline is going to dictate the game at all because I think he's going to do what he did last week, maybe not to that extent, but he's not going to be fazed by anything. I think the bigger question is, can Notre Dame's offense take advantage of Clemson's weakness, which is its secondary, which is relative, obviously, because it's Clemson. But, Ian Book, I think he ranked 30th in yards per attempt nationally, which is not great. And I don't know if he'll be able to exploit that secondary. So I think DJ will be fine. I don't think that the offense will change really at all. And really, I don't think that's what's going to decide the game either. I think that it's much more important what happens when Ian Book has the ball, because if Notre Dame's going to spring the upset, he's going to have to play like a superstar.
Can we all come to an agreement on how to pronounce the name? Because because everybody's putting the two lays at the end, doing Lele.
No, it's Lale, right?
It's
Lale.
Yes.
Lale.
But everybody, I think it's because it sounds better to say Lele at the end. I think it's funny because all the people. Whoever was announcing the game was saying it correctly, but all the guys in the studio and everywhere else were doing Lele at the end.
I was trying to listen to a bunch of guys to get this thing right, and I heard different pronunciations. So I tried to write down what's Fowler. Fowler went on Twitter and he gave us the pronunciation, and I wrote it, and I still wrote it down wrong.
Yeah, because I looked up their game notes to see exactly what it said in the game notes, and it is definitely Lele and not Lele.
Lele.
Lele, yeah. He actually committed on Sirius XM on Full Ride, and half of the discussion after he committed was how do you say your name? And so I think all of us that work at Sirius XM got well schooled on it, because we're like, hey, you know what? You got to know this kid's name. He's going to be around for a while. Get it right now, because you need to be ready to hit the ground running once he plays.
Uiagalelei.
We just figured out how to say Tonga Viola. Now we got to this one. It's all messed up.
How about his little brother, from my Maryland Terrapins? I never thought I'd see the day. I thought they would go winless this year, and they get a little bit lucky with the missed extra point by Minnesota. But what the hell's up with Minnesota? I was stunned. I thought Minnesota would win the game by 20. I think that's what the odds makers had it. But I am very impressed with that the young player, what's his name? Talia? Yeah. He was terrific.
Yeah, he was. I think he showed why he actually was a good prospect himself and not living off of his brother's coattails. He's a good player. You saw it. He's a little bit more mobile than Tua. He was awesome. After a pretty miserable week one, he looked really good against Minnesota. And you're right. I'm so disappointed with Minnesota. I thought they'd be the best team in the West, and they are awful. And I don't know why, because Tanner Morgan is a talented kid. Rashad Bateman is one of the best receivers in the country. You saw against Maryland how good Muhammad Ibrahim is. That guy is really good. But I thought the defense is, not to say it's plug and play, because it's not. And they lost so much, including Antoine Whitfield, but I just thought that they'd be coached well enough to withstand those losses, and I thought that really they wouldn't have to do an awful lot to withstand those losses, just based on where they play in the Big Ten West. So I'm really, really disappointed with what Minnesota has become.
Well, staying in the Big Ten and disappointment. What? I mean, Michigan, goodness gracious. Everybody was all raving about them after week one, that they were maybe this was the year they could challenge Ohio State, and then, Jim Harbaugh does what Jim Harbaugh does, loses to their rivals.
Yeah. And you're right. Jim Harbaugh does exactly what he always does. He for whatever reason, he cannot win big games. He can't even win average games. Because it's Michigan State obviously thinks Michigan is biggest rival. It's third on Michigan's list, maybe.
Right?
So it's to me, it felt like Jim Harbaugh maybe took too much control after that first game, because I think they looked so much more conservative. They didn't look like they looked against Minnesota. From a whole philosophy standpoint, from a scheme standpoint, they looked totally different. So, it's what they do. It's what Jim Harbaugh does. You're right. And he's the most overpaid coach and overrated coach in the country for a reason.
I know you've tweeted a lot about the Dan Mullen incident, the incident that happened right before halftime between Florida and Missouri, which seemed to indicate that Dan Mullen was an instigator in this. Obviously, coaches were involved, players were ejected. Does anything come of it?
Well, players are going to get suspended for sure because I'm sure they're going through that video like the Zapruder film at the SEC office, trying to figure out who swung what punch and what number they are and all that other stuff. So, yeah, kids, there are going to be players suspended. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think the more interesting thing to me is what happens with Dan Mullen because I would suspend him. I think it's clear that he went after the players first. Now, he definitely turned his attention to the white hat referee after running straight toward the Missouri players past two referees or officials. So that instigated that kind of thing is usually self-policed. It was a late hit. It was borderline dirty. You could say it's dirty. I believe you, but that's the kind of thing where Kyle Trask's offensive linemen come to his defense. Like, it happens all the time. It happens in every game that a play like that, whether it's dirty or not, riles up some players, and you get into a shouting match, and you might get into a pushing match or whatever, and have somebody assess a 15-yard penalty. It happens all the time. That's what that situation should have been. And I think that's what that situation would have been had Dan Mullen not done what he did. So I think he should be suspended. And another part of that is, what's the goal of all of this? What's the goal of punishment? It's to change behavior. I mean, did Lane's behavior change after he got docked $25K? No. In fact, it became more entertaining. If you find Dan 50 or whatever, is he really going to change his behavior? Because I don't think he would. And so I would suspend him. I don't think you can put up with stuff like that.
See, I do think he went on the field to yell at the refs, but I agree with you that he did instigate the whole thing. And his thing afterwards when he said, I was just trying to get my players off the field, that's just a blatant lie. Like, that's a blatant lie. Like, it's clear that wasn't what you were doing. You were out there at the very least to yell at the referees.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I understand what Barrett's saying, and I sort of agree with it. But you have Georgia, Florida coming up this weekend. It's not going to happen.
No, I agree with you. It's not going to happen. I 100% agree with you. It's not going to happen. And honestly, I think the rivalry probably does have something to do with that. If it was Vanderbilt or something, then yeah, he'd probably be suspended. But
right.
I 100% agree with you. They're not going to do it ahead of the rivalry game. But I think he should be. It's just to me, I think it's one of those situations where you can't tolerate anything close to that. You can't tolerate players coaches going to yell at players. And to me, watching that film, it's as clear as day that he goes directly toward the Missouri players and then turns to the referee, white hat referee, and starts getting on him.
What do you expect to happen in that game?
I think Florida's going to roll. I think there's this sort of leftover narrative that Georgia's defense is lights out and Florida's defense sucks. And that's not really true. Georgia's defense, I mean, they have Jordan Davis and Richard LeCount out. Those are literally two All-Americans are out. Julian Rochester, rotational guy in the defensive line, is out. Monty Rice was banged up last week. Quay Walker, his replacement, got banged up last week. You had Tyreek Stevenson leave with an undisclosed injury. Richard Sine is probably going to be out. So Georgia's defense is in a horrible spot right now. And meanwhile, what was Florida's issue defensively? It was third down. That was it. That was really the only reason that it was so bad. I think Missouri was 5 of 18 or something like that last week. So maybe the layoff did Florida good. So it's not like Georgia's offense is a finely tuned, well-oiled machine either. So I just think Florida right now, I think Florida's a better team anyway, but coming into this game, you could not ask for a worse situation for Georgia.
Barrett Sallee joining us, college football writer for CBS Sports, CBS Sports HQ, and SiriusXM College Radio. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee. So earlier in the show, to start the show, obviously we were talking about the Tigers and Memphis Tigers and how they were walloped at Cincinnati by this Bearcats team, 49-10. And then we got into the discussion that this year is different for a million different reasons. And normally you wouldn't look at a group of 5 team as possibly being in consideration for the playoff. But, Barrett, if things fall their way, Cincinnati, let's say a team from the Pac-12 doesn't come out of the mix, the Big 12's already shot themselves in the foot with cannibalism. If Cincinnati runs the table, I think they could give a Georgia, a Notre Dame, a Florida a battle right now. But do you think there's a chance that this could be the year if Cincinnati goes unbeaten?
Because the landscape is shaken out that way. You mentioned the Big 12's played itself out. The Pac-12, I think, will probably cannibalize itself too. And honestly, is there an SEC team that deserves to be in if they, go out there and upset Alabama? Okay, maybe the winner of this weekend's Florida-Georgia game, maybe. But there will be, I think, available spots for Cincinnati. So, if they run the table, you got to factor in a loss, at least one loss by Notre Dame or two. And if it's one loss by Notre Dame, then the other loss is probably coming from Clemson. You got to factor in a loss by Georgia, I think this weekend, but Alabama probably will be a loss too. So, there's room for sure. And playing in the American, I think, is going to help them too, because there is, I think, enough respect for the American that it can conceivably, make a statement that is strong enough to the committee to put them in over a, one loss Pac-12 or one loss or two loss, Big 12 champion. So it's certainly breaking that way as a legit possibility this year.
What do you think about and especially if Florida beats Georgia and Florida ends up playing in the championship game against Alabama and Alabama disposes of them? If A&M wins out and they only have that Alabama loss and they've got the win over Florida, what do you think about A&M somehow sneaking in there?
No, I think it's certainly possible. 100% I think it's possible because, you're right. If that Florida win is going to be very interesting to see how the committee approaches that, assuming Alabama is undefeated, because it could come into play in a big way. And honestly, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility either. That A&M runs the table. That's a good team. Their offensive line has been playing lights out, and I know there's this idea that Kellen Mond's going to regress and have those games where you scratch your head. I know he's been burned like that in the past, but if you saw Jake Watermeyer at tight end, he's so good and he's such a weapon. And when you combine him with Isaiah Spiller, who might be one of the top running backs in the country, I just can't see that game, the one where everything sort of falls apart, happening for Texas A&M this year. Because even in their the bad days, it feels like they still are effective on at least on offense this year.
I don't think anybody in their right mind saw 48-11 Auburn over LSU. Bo Pelini's been an absolute disaster. Is that relationship going to end after one season or maybe even before the season's over?
Oh, I think so. That feels like, when we talked about this yesterday on the show, that it feels like a Matt Canada situation. Because Ed hired him as the offensive coordinator. He was supposed to open things up, and he did change the offense, but the personality conflict was too much to overcome. And Bo Pelini typically rubs people the wrong way, and his defense is flat out awful. I mean, flat out awful. So, if not during the season, I think after the season he'll be gone. And I know folks will say, well, they lost so much. They didn't really lose that much in the secondary. I mean, Derek Stingley's still there. Jacoby Stevens is still there. Todd Harris is still there. And they're terrible.
Right.
They're not even bad. They're terrible. And so, Pelini's, there's no way he hangs around.
Barrett, just how excited are you for that Vanderbilt-Mississippi State matchup?
Oh, can't wait. The battle of the basement. Hopefully we get it twice. They waived bowl eligibility this year. Hopefully we get it twice. I want to see it.
The fact that Mississippi State could be a 17.5-point favorite against anybody is staggering. To that, you talk about an illustration of how bad Vanderbilt is. I mean, Mississippi State has one offensive touchdown in their last 13 quarters, and they're a 17.5-point favorite.
What is the over/under for that game?
This one's saying
it's got to be the lowest.
This has makings of a 5-0 game.
It's got to be the lowest this year in college football. I would think it's got to be the lowest. But you know what's funny? You brought that up, Eli, which is going to be interesting. Barrett, the fact that you could have one win and make it to a bowl if that bowl wants you, if you qualify as a member of the conference that's associated with that bowl, they could pick you over a 5, 6, 7 win team, right? There's no rules.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder now if this is going to be one of those deals where, like Penn State's sitting there at 0-2 right now, but they're going to win some games. But there are some teams that are going to have really bad records, and yet they're going to be picked over teams with much better records because of their cachet.
Well, I'll tell you one of them that won't be. That's Vanderbilt.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not picking Vanderbilt regardless of the record.
No, but Penn State, seriously, and they're not going to do this. They're not a bad football team, but Penn State's 0-2. If Penn State won 2 games, they went 2-8, or how many games they play, I don't even know, 2-6. They're getting picked. They're Penn State, for goodness sakes, and that's going to be very, very strange. He is Barrett Sallee. You can watch him on television on CBS Sports HQ. Listen to him like I do on Sirius XM College Radio, and then read all his terrific stories at CBS Sports. You can also follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee. Make sure you catch him every Monday right here on Middays during the college football season to wrap up and recap the weekend and then look ahead to what's coming up this week, which should be a fantastic week in college football. Of course, the Pac-12 getting underway as well. Barrett, as always, thank you so much. Have a great week. Stay well. We'll talk to you next Monday.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Barrett Sallee.
I am. That's the first time I've looked at that Mississippi State Vanderbilt line, and I am flabbergasted.
Did you find the over/under?
No, it's just not listing one. I'm not sure if they've posted one yet. Like, Mississippi State has not scored more than 14 points in a game in their last 4 games, and they're a 17.5-point favorite.
All right, look.
Like, you talk about, I mean, that just, if you need evidence how bad Vanderbilt is, that right there, when you can be a 17.5-point dog to a team who can't score 17 points.
Look, I know how bad LSU's defense is, and I thought they started to get it rolling 2 weeks ago and then got waxed by Auburn. But what Mississippi State did to them the first week, you never would have thought in a million years that offense that we saw in Game 1, that air raid, and KJ Costello setting records, for goodness sakes, would turn into an anemic offense the rest of the way.
They have not scored more than 14 points in a game since. And again,
it's crazy.
In their last 13 quarters of football, they have 1 offensive touchdown. In 13 quarters. And they're a 17.5-point favorite.
I know.
I don't know. To cover 17.5, I believe it requires you to score at least 18 points.
See, the SEC has a couple of those, maybe even more than a few of those teams, that they're good on one side and really bad on the other. Kentucky, their defense is tremendous. They're getting no help offensively. Georgia, I mean, they're not horrible offensively, but they're not great. And they're tremendous defensively. You have Vanderbilt, who's bad on both sides. You have Ole Miss, who's great offensively and bad defensively. You have Mississippi State, that's pretty good defensively and horrific offensively. But then you have the complete teams, obviously Alabama at the top of the list. Florida looks to be pretty complete, although they've had their moments on defense. And A&M's pretty complete.
We had a lot of questions about Alabama's defense coming out of the Ole Miss game.
Oh, there's some issues in the secondary.
But against Mississippi State, like Mississippi State is just that bad. Like they're not going to score again. I'll be interested to see this game. I'm not going to watch it because I do not want to torture myself like that. I have no desire to watch the game. But that final score, 17.5, just seems like an awful lot of points to give a team that can't score.
Did you watch that game at all? Did you watch the Alabama game at all?
Yeah, I watched bits of it. I watched the beginning, and once it was out of hand, I was like, okay, I'm done with that.
It was Sean McDonough on the call, right? I'm pretty sure it was Sean McDonough.
Sure, I don't remember.
Okay, so you probably don't remember this. So they threw up a graphic with the names of the guys who had left the team recently, from Garrett Schrader to Kylan Hill, and he got himself kind of caught in a corner. He was talking about, like, basically deplorables. And, so he gets himself stuck in a corner. He says, not to say that Kylan Hill or anybody on this list is fits that because he was talking about what we've been talking about for the last week, that Mike Leach is going to weed out his guys that he feels are not trying to help the team. They're not there for the long run. They're whatever the case may be. So Mike Leach gets a pass. He gets a pass this first year because he's weeding out guys. It's not all his guys. But Derek Mason and what's happened to Vanderbilt, I don't care if it's COVID-19, if it's they can't afford financially to do it. They have to make a change because the one thing that Mason could hang his hat on was defense. And now they're an embarrassment to go along with no offense whatsoever. And I know it's not easy to recruit there, but they're still in the SEC.
His defense has a chance to look great this week because they got a chance to shut out Mississippi State. Everybody else does.
You got to play the under. I would never play the under in a million years because I just hate to do that. But if there was one game I would play the under, it would be that game. No question about it. Town Village Audubon Park is located at 950 Cherry Road, just off Park Avenue in the heart of East Memphis. It's senior living in today's world, offering more options to fit your needs more than ever before. Dedicated to the long-term satisfaction and the quality of life for their residents. All they ask is that you're 55 or older. The phone number to call for more information, 901-537-0002 or online at townvillageaudubonpark.com. They offer independent living, short-term respite stay, monthly options, great event schedule with activities galore, amazing food for their residents, everything you need to continue to enjoy life to its fullest. Whether you're looking at this for a grandparent or a parent or maybe even yourself for down the road, check out Town Village Audubon Park, 950 Cherry Road, just off Park Avenue. Again, call them at 901-537-0002 or online at townvillageaudubonpark.com. When we return, we're going to get into the National Football League. We once again encourage your texts at 67129, First Bank text line 24/7. Or if you want to call in, the First Bank phone lines are open at 360-8255. Been college football up until now, but we're going to dive into the National Football League when we return. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Grab a seat for a happy hour with John Harden.
Passengers will please fasten their seatbelts.
On Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Ian Eagle here from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football sponsored by Prilosec. Treat your frequent heartburn with Prilosec OTC. Coming up, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at the New York Giants. The Bucs are 5-2 and coming off a dominating performance over the Raiders. Head coach Bruce Arians says the offense with Brady on the field just keeps getting better.
I think it's knowing the guys better, knowing the system better. There's such good communication of what we're trying to get done, where the ball should be going versus each coverage, and I think it's just total growth in the offense.
Daniel Jones and the Giants trying to rebound from yet another close loss last week. Ron Jaworski joins me in the booth for the call when the Giants host the Bucs on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
The Big Green Egg is in a league all its own. From lifetime warranty to ceramic, can't rust, won't rust. The patented ceramic insulates and radiates heat back to your food better than any other material on the market. Retain more moisture in foods. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, grill, and more. Save and reuse charcoal, saving you money. Easy, accurate temperature control. Greatest temperature range of any grill. Taste the difference. Ask anyone that has had food off a Big Green Egg. Make your next grill your last with Big Green Egg.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:35 the time. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Gabe Kuhn. A little thing we call Sports 56 Middays, doing a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking. If you'd like to participate, you can hit us up via the First Bank text line, anything that's on your mind. 67129, or calling on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255. We've been talking primarily college football, especially the Tigers getting blown out at Cincinnati 49-10. But it wasn't a good day for Tennessee teams from the state of Tennessee versus teams from Cincinnati, because the Tennessee Titans went to Cincinnati as well, went to the Queen City, and got beat by the Cincinnati Bengals 31-20 in a game that just stunned me. It almost seemed like the Titans didn't give them a lot of credit, that they overlooked Cincinnati to a certain extent, that they didn't think a team that had one win coming in and a rookie quarterback could beat them. They got too big for their britches.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a letdown factor there after having the Steelers the week prior. It was an ugly performance. That did not look like what we have seen out of the Titans this year. That's for sure. They never could really get anything going. A.J. Brown didn't have a catch until, I don't know when he got, I think it was like the third quarter maybe when he got his first catch. Like, offensively, Tannehill just didn't look the same. Like, it was a struggle.
Yeah, Joe Burrow was terrific. 26-37, 249, 2 touchdowns. They couldn't get to him. He made all the right reads. He has had a terrific rookie season, and finally it culminates in a win as Cincinnati beats the Titans. That's just not a good game for the Titans to lose to Cincinnati, even though it was on the road. Buffalo beat New England 24-21. That snaps a 7-game losing streak against the Pats for the Buffalo Bills. Cam Newton, again, critical mistake. He was better. He threw for 174. He rushed for 54 and a touchdown, but he's only thrown, 2 2 touchdown passes since taking over. But he had a critical fumble on that drive that could have given the Patriots the lead. They end up losing and falling to 2-5. They are in 3rd place in the AFC East.
Yeah, you certainly can't fumble there. You got to make sure at the very least you get the field goal and get into overtime. And to fumble there was, and he just can't win games right now. Going back to the end of the time in Carolina and now here, he cannot win games that he starts at quarterback.
Patriots don't have any options, and Cam Newton, after the last couple of games, it's on me, it's my fault, I got to be better. That's nice that you're saying that, but you have to go out and do it. And it's obvious that he's still their best option. So I don't even know what the whole fascination was with Jarrett Stidham, but I think they've come to the realization that he's not the guy, and obviously Hoyer is just there for safety precautions. So I don't know. Depending on where New England finishes this season, and they're going south right now. I'm not saying they're in line to get Trevor Lawrence, but maybe one of those quarterbacks, and there's 4 projected to go in the first round. Maybe that's the route they got to go.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that the run is over. The dynasty is over, and they are going to have to do some serious rebuilding there. I mean, Edelman now injured, and who knows what's going to happen there. But it was a hell of a run. It's over, and now you got to start over.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. But Belichick, they don't normally go for a quarterback, especially early. And this would be, I'm talking first round. So I don't know if that would come to that. Again, there were a bunch of games yesterday. I didn't expect Vegas to go into Cleveland and win. Not that the Cleveland Browns are some juggernaut, but they had come off a really good game and a really good performance by Baker Mayfield. And Cleveland couldn't do anything offensively against Vegas.
Yeah, Cleveland's still not over that hump. When they play, when they play bad teams, they can look good, but generally against better teams, they struggle. And the Raiders aren't a great team by any means. But yeah, that was that's 3 games this year now. The Ravens game, the Steelers game, and now the Raiders game, where they have scored either 6 or 7 points.
Right. I still thought Cleveland would win that game. Obviously, I thought Tennessee would win. And I definitely thought Green Bay at home would beat Minnesota, for goodness sakes. The Vikings came in with 1 win, and it was the Dalvin Cook show. They win 28-22. The Pack fall to 5-2. Minnesota improves to 2-5. Aaron Rodgers had a solid game, 291, passing 3 touchdowns. But Dalvin Cook, 30 carries, 163, 3 touchdowns, 2 catches, 63 yards, and another touchdown. He was a fantasy football owner's dream.
Yeah, he was incredible. They couldn't tackle him. Like it was just an unbelievable. The receiving touchdown was amazing. Man, he is really, really good when he's healthy and out there. Man, that dude is good.
You know who else is good? Patrick Mahomes. 31 of 42, 416 yards, 5 touchdowns. The Chiefs toyed around with the Jets, won 35-9 to improve to 7-1. Jets, the only winless team in the NFL, are 0-8. The only thing I thought Le'Veon Bell could have a big game against Adam Gase, his former coach. 6 carries, 7 yards.
Yeah, didn't really give him the ball a whole lot, and it looked like the Jets, I think, were probably focused on stopping him to make sure he didn't beat him. But, yeah, Patrick Mahomes did whatever he wanted to do, and those receivers did whatever they wanted to do. Like, you could have had, like, in daily fantasy yesterday, if you just took basically all of the Chiefs players other than the running backs, you probably would have won a decent amount of money. If you took Mahomes, Hill, Hardman, Robinson, and Kelsey, you were doing all right.
Indy beat Detroit 41-21. The Colts defense continues to be the story, but they put 41 on the board, some of that defensively. They're 5-2 now. Jordan Wilkins, the pride of Ole Miss and St. Benedict at Auburndale. 20 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Also had a 2-point conversion. So a Jordan Wilkins sighting.
Yeah, that was the last couple of weeks, or like he hasn't even been a part of the offense. Early in the season he was a little bit, and then he just wasn't even getting anything. And then all of a sudden, 20 carries yesterday, and he was really good. So I'm not sure where that came from or why that happened, but they got him involved, and he responded.
Here's one I got right, which I went out on a limb and took the Dolphins. But the Dolphins have been playing really well. I just had a feeling they would beat the Rams. They beat them 28-17. The Dolphins defense had 4 first-half takeaways. That game was basically over at halftime because of what the Dolphins did defensively. Tua Tagovailoa gets his first start, and he gets his first win. He also throws his first touchdown pass. But he was kind of a side note, 12 of 22, 93 yards and a touchdown. He didn't do anything. Jared Goff threw the ball 61 times in that game, and it wasn't enough.
Yeah, when you get a defensive touchdown, a punt return touchdown, your quarterback doesn't have to do a whole lot. The Dolphins, it's funny, in the AFC East, the Dolphins are the only team with a positive point differential in the year.
Right. I was looking at
they're
that.
plus 58, which is crazy that they're only 4-3. They're 4-3 with a plus 58, while the Bills are 6-2 with a -1.
Yes, I was noticing that last night as well. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. The Dolphins have won 3 in a row. They're 4-3. They're not great by any stretch of the imagination. And again, we'll see what Tua can do. He didn't do anything in this game, but they won with special teams and defense.
Like, their point differential is better than the Seahawks, who are 6-1 on the year. It's better than the Packers. It's better than the Titans. It's weird to be only 4-3 when you're plus 58. It's hard to do that.
No, you're absolutely right. There's only 6 teams in the AFC that have a positive point differential. 6 total teams. Chiefs have plus 101. The Dolphins plus 58 is not too shabby.
And the Jets are only a minus 144.
Is that all? In the game that we thought would be the game of the day, ended up being the game of the day pretty much. Baltimore and Pittsburgh went down to the wire, and Pittsburgh remains unbeaten. Keep that champagne on chill, Mercury Morris. Pittsburgh goes to 7-0. Baltimore drops to 5-2. They'll meet again. Pittsburgh winning 28-24 in B-More. Ben Roethlisberger, 21 of 32, $182 and 2 touchdowns. He had the game-winning touchdown pass to Chase Claypool, 8-yarder with 7:32 to play. Baltimore had their chances, but couldn't get it done. Pittsburgh's defense stout towards the end to get the victory.
Yeah, that was a great game. That was a fun game, and those two teams are both good, both really good, and when they get together, it is a battle. The Steelers get the Cowboys this week, so I don't think that Mercury Morris will be popping any champagne after this coming week. That's just a guess, though.
In one of the strangest games, maybe the strangest game of the day, Denver ends up beating the Chargers 31-30 to improve to 3-4. Chargers blow a 21-point lead, and they've become the Falcons, the Chargers have. You had K.J. Hamler with no time left catching a touchdown pass from Drew Lock after a pass interference call, put the ball on the 2-yard line. Lock was pretty darn good, 26 of 41, 248, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Justin Herbert, 29 of 43, 278, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the Chargers or why they can't hold on to these leads they get. I mean, it is just – I thought, yes, I was like, okay, they're not going to blow this one. Like, Denver was doing nothing offensively.
Right.
When it was 24-3, like – it looked like Denver wouldn't even score. There was no thought that they were going to be able to come back and win the game. And somehow the Chargers, it's like, I don't understand what happens to them defensively. Like, all of a sudden they look great, and then all of a sudden it just changes in a heartbeat, and then they can't stop the team they're playing.
We'll get to the rest of the NFL games in our final segment here in hour number 2, but I do want to talk to you about FanDuel. As Eli said earlier, with Action 24/7, we have legal sports gambling now officially underway in Tennessee. It started yesterday. So you're watching the game, you see another ad for FanDuel Sportsbook, and you think to yourself, is that legal here in Tennessee? You bet it is. FanDuel Sportsbook now officially legal in the Volunteer State. You can place your first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook risk-free, get up to $1,000 back if you don't win. Did you hear me? You can get up to $1,000 back if you don't win. Seriously, there's no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in bonus site credit. So you can take another shot at the end zone on the house. And with FanDuel Sportsbook, generous risk-free bets are just the beginning. They've got a simple app, live betting on every game, and exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays when you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. And once you win on FanDuel Sportsbook, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. To claim your risk-free bet, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, Be sure to sign up with the promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbookfanduel.com. That's sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. More NFL discussion when we return. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Let Dave Voloshin and Brett Nordsworthy take you home with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Golfers, are you looking to play like a pro without traveling the world? Just come to Golf and Games Family Park, 5484 Summer Avenue. Golf and Games has the Top Tracer range system. Top Tracer gathers all your golfing data, distance, carry, ball speed, and more. Or choose a virtual course like Pebble Beach, St. Andrews, and Spyglass. Bring your friends and family to transform and enhance the range experience for golfers and non-golfers alike. Plus, it's fun. Top Tracer range at Golf and Games, 5484 Summer Avenue. Play like a pro.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to Action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical-grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Do you remember when it was September?
Once again, to get your windows clean, interior, exterior windows with the streak-free guarantee, power washing, all kinds of great stuff that they do at Window Genie, including holiday lighting. Give Kate Robertson a call at 901-424-4100 or go online to windowgenie.com. Let the power of the Genie work for you. University of Memphis just announced that the game versus Navy, which is a week from this Saturday, the 14th of November, will kick off at 2:30. 2:30, the game will either be televised on ESPN2 or ESPNU. All right, back to the NFL. The Saints and the Bears, that was a good game, and that came down to overtime with the Saints winning at 26-23 on a Will Lutz field goal. Anthony Miller in that game, 8 catches for 73 yards, so they did use him a lot more, Eli. He was a lot more involved in the offense.
Yeah, it was similar to the Jordan Wilkins situation in Indianapolis. Like I don't remember how many targets he ended up with, but they were throwing him the ball a ton. He hit him with 11 targets. He had the most targets of anybody on the team.
Yeah, he had the one drop, and I think that was in overtime on their drive. I think they had the ball first, if I'm not mistaken, the Bears. He had a drop there, but other than that, he was catching everything. He had like Velcro on his hands. But in the end, it was the Saints and Drew Brees who went 31 of 41, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns that got the win. Nick Foles, 28 of 41, 272, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Very similar numbers to Brees, but the Saints get the win. They really needed that one. San Francisco and Seattle. Seattle wins 37-27. They're now 6-1. Niners dropped to 4-4. Russell Wilson, 27 of 37 for 261 and 4 touchdowns. And there were some big receiver games in the NFL. DK Metcalf, one of them. 12 catches, 161 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he continues to just be a freak of nature. I mean, the one touchdown when he just caught it on the crossing pattern and then just kind of accelerates and outruns everybody. And you're just like, wait a second, like that dude at that size just outran everybody. It's just... I tell you what, he continues to get better and better. He's unstoppable. I don't know who you're guarding him with. Like, he's just too big and too fast.
I can't believe that teams passed up on him. It still boggles the mind. By the way, in that division, if there's any question who is the best or what the best division is in the National Football League, we were just talking about the plus minus. In the NFC West, every team is well in the positive, in the green. Seattle, they lead the division. They're plus 41. Arizona, plus 57. The Rams, plus 41. And the 49ers at 4-4 are plus 35.
Yeah, that division's good. That division's really good.
And then last night, Sunday Night Football, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't planning on watching it, and I didn't watch it. I'm glad I didn't. Philly over your Cowboys 23-9, and they now control the NFC East. They're 3-4-1. The Cowboys 2-6. We got a taste of the next. I guess the next Tony Romo.
No.
The next Troy Aikman. The next Roger Staubach. No.
No. Maybe the next Babe Laufenberg. Next,
Clint Longley.
Go through the list of terrible quarterbacks that came through there. Ben DiNucci. Now,
Benny DiNucci.
Granted, it's an extremely tough situation for him. Like, he's clearly not. You're a 7th-round pick, and you're playing as a rookie. Like, it's not anything that was ever expected. You didn't get any like preseason games to even get any experience. You're playing behind an offensive line that is pieced together with duct tape, basically. But boy, he looked bad. He's. Oof, man.
I watched Gotti on Amazon Prime with John Travolta in the starring role, but I think Benny DiNucci was in that movie. Actually, he wasn't actually at the game playing.
He he had the 2 fumbles where he just held onto the ball way too long, and that was deep in Eagles territory. Like the defense. I don't know if it's just because the Eagles' offense is that bad, and Carson Wentz likes to turn the ball over as much as he does.
Right.
The defense actually looked a little bit better, but again, I have a feeling that's just because it was the Eagles and Carson Wentz is bad. But their offense with him at quarterback, like they don't stand a chance of scoring. Like they're not going to score a touchdown. They can't score a touchdown. It's awful between that offensive line and him. It is brutal to try and watch them play football.
I didn't watch the game, and I know Zeke is their bell cow. But I looked at the numbers and what Tony Pollard was averaging per pop as opposed to Zeke. And wasn't it last week, maybe it was a texter or somebody said, why not give Pollard more carries? I didn't see the game, so maybe it was misleading.
No, I mean, Pollard had a couple of very nice runs. Zeke is, it is. I mean, he's going to have some short runs because he's just pounding the ball in there. And I'll give him credit. They got very creative. They went to Wildcat with using Zeke and taking direct snaps. They were running reverses and double reverses and everything else. Like they threw the whole thing at him, but it's just they're not going to score touchdowns because They just don't have enough good players on the offense. I mean, between the offensive line and the quarterback position, when you're terrible at both of those, I don't care who else you have on the field, it's not going to look good.
Packers are reporting that backup running back A.J. Dillon is out for Thursday's game with a COVID-19 positive test. Mentioned earlier that Arizona and head coach Cliff Kingsbury confirmed 2 Cardinals tested positive. He did not announce who they were. And then Marlon Humphrey went on social media and said he's got the Rona. So the Ravens cornerback, the former Alabama Crimson Tide stud, is out as well, or at least right now is tested positive, but more than likely will miss the next game. So again, a little scary situation with the positive tests around the National Football League. Tonight you got Tampa Bay and the Giants. We'll have the game for you right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5. The Bucs at 5-2, and right now clicking on all cylinders. The Giants 1-6. Is Brown expected to play, Antonio Brown?
I haven't seen. I assume he'll probably be, but I haven't seen anything of what their plan is.
I know he's living with the Bradys. How about that? In the rented house that Brady rented from Derek Jeter.
Well, I bet they're really cramped in there, too. I bet it's really tight. I'm really surprised. Probably have to be sharing a room with somebody because I can't imagine there was a spare bedroom anywhere in that house.
Yeah, he's sharing a bed with one of Brady's kids, I believe. All right, hour 3 coming up. We'll start things off with 5 favorite songs. Again, the topic is the word tell or telling or told. You can send your lists in on the First Bank text line, 67129, if you're watching us live. You can message us with the lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Then we'll get back into some college football, including odds for this week's games, that and your texts. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
Family Leisure's done it again. We're talking about the world's biggest spa sale. Up to 30% off on spas and swim spas. Choose from hundreds of different spas from multiple manufacturers. There is special financing available, and if you are in the market, special pricing now as summer starts to dwindle on chemicals and accessories. Always professional delivery available. The spas are going crazy at Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Good news. Southland Casino is now back open. That's right. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back to the action with live blackjack, roulette, craps, and all your favorite slots. The action kicks off every day at 9 a.m. and rolls all the way till 5 o'clock the next morning. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. We're ready for you. Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking, no telephone pole to get in your way, a cool patio.
It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course we can help you with that oil change. Doing it yourself is a great way to save some money. Right now you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And we've got even more ways to get it. Just order online with our next day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions at AutoZone.com. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 12:04 the time. Final hour here on Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40, the world's biggest spa sale going on right now. When you stop by and you check out the beautiful spas at Family Leisure, ask for an official Sports 56 mask while supplies last. Third hour of the program also brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at 5143 Quince Road for convenience, service, knowledge, and price. Skip the big box stores. Head over to East Memphis Ace Hardware, online at acehardware.com, where they offer free shipping. 901-683-8688, open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, Sunday, 10 to 4, East Memphis Ace Hardware.
The NFL trade deadline is tomorrow, and the Vikings have apparently gotten Desmond King from the Chargers. I'm assuming it's just a draft pick they gave up, like all these trades probably will be. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of activity over the next 24 hours or so in the NFL, I'm sure.
Wait, you said Vikings? I think he went to the Titans.
Titans. Did I say Vikings? I'm sorry. I meant Titans.
Oh, he goes to the Titans?
Yes.
Interesting. Former Titan and former Jet now, Avery Williamson, headed to the Steelers.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in the NFL, and it'll be an active. There'll be a lot of draft picks traded.
Did you get a look at Avery Williamson's? He had a post, I believe, on Instagram last night of him leaving the Jets. Did you get a look at it?
No.
I read something about it, but I didn't see it.
He put a full uniform on and then put his thumb up like he was hitchhiking in the middle of New York City.
Can you imagine the feeling of getting traded away from the Jets right now? Like how great that feeling must be.
He goes from 0-8 to 7-0.
Like that's got to just be like. I mean, trying to play for the Jets has to be miserable right now. Like there's there's no enjoyment whatsoever about just going out every week, getting killed. Your head coach is, I don't even know what the heck he is. Like the idea of like that phone call and they say, hey, we traded you. You wouldn't even care who it's to. Like, just getting out of there is worth it.
Do you have to at least fake act sad on the phone? Like, thank you guys for the opportunity.
I think you start celebrating and screaming into the phone like, thank you, thank you, thank you.
It was a pleasure working for your great organization.
God bless you. Good luck with y'all, but I will be gone. I'm out.
Yeah, you're not going to hear, I cherished my time with you in New York with the Jets organization, one of the best-run organizations in all of sports. No, that's not happening. Time now for our 5 favorite songs.
Five favorite songs.
All right, your weekend homework assignment was to come up with 5 favorite songs using either the word tell or told or any variation of those 2 words. If you have not sent in your list, please do so via the First Bank text line at 67129. There's another way. There's many ways, in fact, to send your lists in. If you're watching us live, you can message us with those lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. We'll go Gabe, then me, then Eli, and then our listeners. All right, Gabe.
Solid. This was a solid category.
I thought it was pretty good.
I was okay with it.
Yeah, pretty good.
I have no tolds, though. Only have tells. 5.
How about that?
That's what they say when he plays poker. He has a big tell.
You want to play poker after this?
Do you play?
Go for it. Yeah, I'll play.
I have 3 tells and 2 tolds.
5. I went Tell Me When to Go by E40. Bay Area.
E40.
California.
That was that's the shorter version of the E60 show, right?
Moving on, number 4. I Can't Tell You Why by the Eagles. 3. No Tellin' by Drake. 2. I've had this as a number 1 in another category. I believe it was Baby, but Tell Me Baby, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then number 1, you guys might, and I say might, know this song. Might.
I feel the pressure under more scrutiny, and what I do, act more stupidly. Bought more jewelry, more Louis V. My mama couldn't get through to me. The drama, people suing me. I'm on TV talking like it's just you and me. I'm just saying how I feel, man. I ain't one of the Cosbys, I ain't go to Hill, man. I guess the money should have changed them. I guess I should have forgot where I came from. Wait till I get my money right. Then you can't tell me nothing right.
Can't Tell Me Nothing by Kanye West.
You saying something?
You're a big Hangover fan. This is like a big song in Hangover.
I've heard
you
this
recognize.
song.
I should have said you recognize it, not know it.
recognize it,
literally.
yes.
Well, I knew it was Kanye West in 2 seconds, but I was like, hey, have I heard this song before? So probably yes. Like, I watched all the Hangover movies, so I'm sure that's how I know it by.
By the way, I keep wanting to ask this, Gabe. You may know this. What is the dance that all of the football players are doing now after they score the touchdown?
Are you talking about the one? It's the one where they're just sort of hopping around and their arms swing.
Is that?
I don't know exactly, but I remember Justin Jefferson was the first person I really saw do it.
Like
and
everybody does it after everything.
Yeah,
in both
I'm going to
college
look
and
that
the
up.
NFL now, and I don't know I don't know if it was a certain song or what.
Really?
I cannot. I keep seeing it. I keep wanting to ask that because I have no idea. But it's unbelievable. Everybody does it. Every football player does it when they do anything good.
Really? I haven't even noticed that.
You have not
No,
noticed.
it's
touchdown.
everywhere, and
Literally
even in
every
college.
touchdown.
In college, too.
Well,
It's everywhere.
the Tigers, those receivers, when they score the touchdown, they're kind of breaking the tape on
Yeah, but it's the celebration. They're all doing that same dance.
I guess they call it the gritty. It's called the gritty, but it's
gritty?
not like it's not from like a song.
See, I don't know if there was a certain song that started this thing or what, but like it's amazing to me how every single football player is doing the same thing.
Well, good luck. If it's called the Gritty, it's going to be here in Memphis forever.
Now, granted,
It'll be part of the Grizzlies.
Granted, it could be from a song, but nothing new. Certainly nothing new. Nothing that I know of.
All right.
Okay. I didn't know if maybe you'd because that thing it's been driving me crazy trying to figure out what that is that they're doing.
I'm surprised I haven't noticed that. Another NFL trade. The 49ers have traded Quan Alexander, linebacker, to the New Orleans Saints. Not sure what they got in return. And the SEC has just announced Dan Mullen fined 25 large and issued a reprimand for his actions on Saturday. $25,000. I don't know where he's going to get his next meal.
It's really crazy because there's many have pointed this out. But so he ran on the field to go after the referee, had to be restrained, and basically instigated or at least elevated a situation, became a big brawl. He got fined the same amount as Lane Kiffin got for retweeting something.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
It's really ridiculous.
Like what he did was clearly worse than what Lane Kiffin did.
They could have went really high on the fine, which they should have, but there was no way they were going to suspend him with the Georgia game coming up this weekend. I'm with Barrett Sallee. If they were playing Vanderbilt this Saturday, maybe they would suspend him for a game. But they've downplayed it. And that's not like Greg Sankey to do that, in my opinion, because that was pretty blatant. Everybody knew that he went out there and he, again, elevated it. If not instigated, he definitely elevated it.
There were 2 players suspended for the first half of the game this week.
Okay.
That's
so how much money did they lose?
I don't know what Missouri got out of it. But
a big loss.
I mean, there's guys out there just throwing haymakers, and all we got is a couple of guys suspended for a half.
By the way, how many guys in the NFL and college football are going to continue to throw haymakers at a helmet? They're going to bust their hands doing
that.
this.
That happens all the time.
The Bears dude, I don't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, what was going on with that guy?
Weird.
All right, let's get back to the 5 favorites. Yeah, that video, I thought, man, gosh, what is this guy trying to accomplish here? All right, my 5 favorite songs, again, with the topic being Tell or Told. Number 5, Tell Her About It by Billy Joel. Number 4, Tell Me Something Good by Shaka Khan and Rufus. Number 3, Tell It to My Heart, Taylor Dane. Number 2, Live to Tell by Madonna. And here's my number 1.
Want some whiskey in your water, sugar in your tea? What's all this crazy question they're asking me? This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights, cause I don't want to see. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. That ain't the way that I found out.
Terrific song from Three Dog Night. Mama told me not to come. Doesn't he sound a little like Elmer Fudd? No?
I don't necessarily get that.
A little Elmer Fudd to his voice? No? Okay. But anyway, a great song from a very, very, very good band, which I don't believe Three Dog Night is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That should be taken care of here. I mean, I don't know how that group is not in the Hall of Fame. But anyway.
Just for the song Eli's Coming, they should be.
they had so many great songs. All right.
By the way, there were 3 Missouri players suspended for a first half, which is actually funny because Missouri doesn't play this week. Their next game is next week against Georgia. So Georgia gets the beneficiary of all of the guys suspended for that fight.
Oh, my gosh.
2 Florida guys this week and 3 Missouri guys the following week suspended for the first halves of those games. All right. Got an honorable mention today, and that goes to the William Tell Overture by any orchestra.
That's another one with not Elmer Fudd, but with Bugs Bunny. Remember that? When they did that song? Dun, 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 turn the lights. This is it. Remember Bugs Bunny? Did you watch that as a kid?
Yeah, I watched it.
Am I crazy, people? Come on. And then also Jerry Seinfeld from Seinfeld. When he did a variation of it. Remember, he was in the tuxedo for the... forget it.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Number 5, I Can't Tell You Why by the Eagles. Number 4, You Never Can Tell, Chuck Berry. Number 3, Tell Her About It, Billy Joel. Number 2, Mama Told Me Not to Come by Three Dog Night. And number 1,
If I told you that I realize you're all I ever wanted, and it's killing me to be so far away, would you tell me that you love me too? And would we cry together? Or would you simply laugh at me and say, I told you so? Oh, I told you so.
Carrie Underwood has also done a version of that, but Randy Travis with I Told You So.
I like Randy Travis.
Randy's got some good stuff from back in the day.
He also has that great mugshot.
He kind of went off the rails for a while, but he's got some good music from back in the day.
That mugshot is way up there with the Nick Nolte mugshot. Yeah. But he's a good performer. All right. Let's get to our listeners.
Let's see here. Zed. Number 5, Tell Lori I Love Her by Keith Whitley. Number 4, Somebody Told Me by The Killers.
Oh, that's a good song, man.
Number 3, Tell It to My Heart, Taylor Dane. Number 2, Tell Me Baby by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And number 1, Tell It Like It Is by Aaron Neville.
Yeah, consider that one. Man, I forgot about that Killer song. Good job there.
Let's see here. Oh, boy, I'm confused on this one here, and this has got all kinds of stuff going on here. Number 5, Don't Tell Me What to Do, Pam Tillis. Number 4, Tell Her, Lone Star. Number 3, Tell Me About It, Tanya Tucker. and Delbert McClinton. Number 2, I Told You So, Randy Travis and Carrie Underwood. Number 1, Where She Told Me to Go by Eric Church. Honorable mention to Tell Me Why, The Four Aces, and Bing Crosby.
There's our binger.
Bobby in Midtown. Number 5, Tell 'Em I Ain't Here by Dale Watson. Number 4, Please Don't Tell Her by Big Head Todd and the Monsters. Number 3, Can I Tell You by Kansas. Number 2, Tell Mama by Savoy Brown. I've never even heard of Savoy Brown. That's
Sawyer Brown.
It says Savoy Brown, I think. No, I just think
it's in honor of you.
But they spell it differently, but I've never heard of them.
It's got to be Sawyer Brown.
All right, well, I get this. There we go. Now we're back to operational again. Let me figure that where it was. Savoy, Savoy Brown. And number 1, Every Picture Tells a Story by Rod Stewart. Downtown Leo. Number 5, Stories I Tell by Toad the Wet Sprocket. Number 4, Somebody Told Me, The Killers. Number 3, I Can't Tell You Why, The Eagles. Number 2, No Tell Lover by Chicago. And number 1, Drops of Jupiter, Tell Me by Train. Lou and KC, number 5, Go Tell It on the Mountain by Mahalia Jackson. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks could qualify as artists for that song. Number 4, Don't Tell a Lie About Me, and I Won't Tell the Truth About You by James Brown. Number 3, It's a Sin to Tell a Lie by the Ink Spots. Number 2, Tell Me a Bedtime Story by Quincy Jones featuring Patty Austin. And number 1, Remember What I Told You to Forget by Tavares.
I like Tavares.
Julian Tavares? Is that Julian Tavares, former pitcher?
No, Tavares. From the disco age.
I know, I'm just wondering if it was Julian Tavares, the former pitcher. Ray in Cordova, honorable mention to Tell Me Something Good, Shaka Khan and Rufus. Mm-hmm. And Show and Tell, Al Wilson.
Considered Al Wilson's song. Former Tennessee Ball great.
Okay. Number 5, Only Time Will Tell by Asia.
Ah, man, I forgot that one, too.
Number 4, Live to Tell, Madonna. Number 3, Mama Told Me, 3 Dog Night. Number 2, I Can't Tell You Why, the Eagles. And number 1, the William Tell Overture. He puts Giacchino Rossini. I guess that must be the composer that did the William Tell Overture.
Are they friends with Ben Narducci? What was that? What's the Cowboys guy's name again? Ben DiNucci? DiNucci. Is he friends with Ben DiNucci?
Let's see. Mr. Rogers with an honorable mention to Tell Me Lies, Fleetwood Mac.
It is not Tell Me Lies. It is just lies. I looked that up yesterday.
So you're saying he's lying?
Fibbing, fabricating, I don't know, whatever. That was one I wanted on my list, and it came up just lies. That's the name of the song.
Number 5, You Only Tell Me You Love Me When You're Drunk by Pet Shop Boys. Number 4, Tell Me Something Good, Rufus and Shaka Khan. Mm-hmm. Number 3, Drops of Jupiter, Tell Me by Train. Number 2, Tell It Like It Used to Be, T. Graham Brown. And number 1, Tell It Like It Is, Aaron Neville.
It's Little Lies. Little Lies. Sweet Little Lies. Little Lies. So it's not Tell Me Lies.
So his number 2 is Tell It Like It Used to Be. His number 1 is Tell It Like It Is. He wants to be telling everything. Carolyn, number 5, Somebody Told Me, The Killers. Number 4, Tell the Rapper I'm Sorry by Lil Revive. Gabe?
Lil Revive?
I have no idea who that is.
Lil Revive, I guess.
Yep, it doesn't change anything. Still don't know.
Lil Revive. That did not revive your knowledge of this.
No, did not.
Tell Me If You Still Care, the SOS Band. Tell It Like It Is, Aaron Neville. Tell Her About It, Billy Joel. Miles in Olive Branch. Number 5, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, Night Ranger. Number 4, Have I Told You Lately, Rod Stewart. Number 3, Tell Me Something Good. Number 2, That's the Girl I've Been Telling You About by Blessed Union of Souls. And number 1, Somebody Told Me by the Killers. Let's see. Number 1, Go Tell It to the Mountain, or Go Tell It on the Mountain, Church. Number 2, Tell Me It's Over. Number 3, Tell All the People. Number 4, Tell Her About It. Somebody says, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, Night Ranger. Tell Me Something Good, Rufus. Savoy Brown was the precursor to Foghat.
Wow.
Wayne says.
So it wasn't a typo. Very nice. Savoy Brown.
Foghat's a better name. Did Etta James do Tell Mama as well? I do not know. I have no idea. John on Facebook. Drops of Jupiter, Tell Me by Train. Don't Tell Me You Love Me, Night Ranger. I missed on that Night Ranger song. I like that song.
I like Night Ranger.
I don't know if it would have made my top 5 though.
No, but the one
pretty close. But I didn't even come across that song.
I didn't come across that one, and I didn't come across Somebody Told Me by the Killers, which I really love. Would absolutely be on my list. I'm mad at myself for that one.
Tell Me Something Good. Tell It to Me by Tom Waits, and Tell Me by Tom Waits. Tom Waits really wants somebody to tell him something.
A double dose of Tom Waits.
He says, Tell it to me, and then he also says, Tell me. Andrew, Tell Your Heart to Beat Again, Danny Goki. Tell Me Fool, Vince Gill. Somebody Told Me, The Killers. I Told You So, Carrie Underwood and Randy Travis. And number 1, I Can't Tell You Why, The Eagles. Billy on Facebook, Don't Tell Me What to Do, Pam Tillis. Tell Her, Lone Star. Tell Me About It, Tanya Tucker and Delbert McClinton. Tell Me, Jake Owen. And Where She Told Me to Go, Eric Church. And honorable mention, Tell Me Why, The Four Aces and Bing Crosby.
Can you read that already?
Oh, maybe he said it did on.
Okay.
He might have texted.
I was like,
and
2 people
on
at the
Facebook.
Four Aces and Bing Crosby.
Bobby, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You? Rod Stewart. You Never Can Tell, Chuck Berry. Which that song, I'll always think of Pulp Fiction whenever I hear that song. I never even knew the name of that song until this whole thing started. Number 3, Then You Can Tell Me Goodbye, The Casinos.
Good song. Good song.
Mama Told Me Not to Come. And number 1, I Told You So, Randy Travis. Honorable mention to I've Told Every Little Star by Lawrence Welk. Believe that is it.
Some good ones. Like, I had no idea who was it. John that came up with Drops of Jupiter, which I knew from Train, is Drops of Jupiter. Tell Me.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I didn't know. That's a really good song too. So good job by our listeners as always. So what's the topic for tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're gonna do Think or Thought.
Think or Thought. All right, Think or Thought for tomorrow. There's some alarming news from Oxford that's being reported via Twitter. Neil McCready, I'm reading his tweet. DeMarcus Thomas has been severely injured per Lane Kiffin. Hasn't moved since being hit, sources tell Rebel Grove. Thomas is on his way to Oxford Hospital. Sources tell us helicopter en route to take him to Memphis. So we are sending our thoughts and prayers to this young man. But that's the news right now out of Oxford during practice, a severe injury to DeMarcus Thomas. We'll pass along more information if it becomes available. We will take a timeout. When we come back, final half hour, we'll get back into college football. Look at what the Heisman, it seemed like it was a given for Trevor Lawrence. Now he's about to miss his second game. What it means as far as the odds and the chances for Trevor Lawrence. We'll talk about some of the games that we haven't gotten to from the SEC this past weekend. Look at some odds as well for this week's games as we continue on a Monday with a little Monday morning quarterbacking. And again, if you'd like to participate, you can via the First Bank text line at 67129. We also have open phone lines if you want to call in. First Bank phone lines 360-8255. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Buy your next car or truck at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. All credit welcome. Drive off in your new, low-mileage, pre-owned car or truck. From low-end cars to the most luxurious sports car. Ask about the 48-hour vehicle locator. Let Streamline Auto Smart do the looking for you. Close your deal within 1 hour. No waiting. It's quick and easy at Streamline Auto Smart. Your next smart decision. 2558 Mount Moriah. Call Streamline Auto Smart 901-235-8845. Your next smart decision.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do, and we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. Whether it's wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride.
All right, so a little more on this. Looks like very serious injury in Oxford to DeMarcus Thomas. Thomas is a freshman tight end from Watley, Alabama. Again, according to Neil McCready on Twitter, Kiffin, this is Lane Kiffin, said he just called his ex-wife and told her he couldn't care less if their son Knox ever plays football again. Kiffin said he's praying it's a stinger. Kiffin is clearly shaken from what he saw at practice.
Yeah, that's awful.
DeMarcus Thomas's family was called from the field. They have been notified. Oh, man. You hate to see that. Let's hope that Lane's right, maybe. It ends up being a stinger. But right now, I assume that there's just no movement, no mobility with anything, with his arms or legs. And again, our thoughts and prayers as well. All right, so we've talked a lot about the college football weekend. We didn't get to a few of the games in the SEC. You mentioned when we had Barrett on about Texas A&M. They beat Arkansas. Arkansas continues to play well. They lost 42-31, but you never felt that Arkansas was going to win that football game. Kellen Mond, 21 of 26 for 260 and 3 touchdowns. Now, Felipe Frank's pretty good for Arkansas. He's been better than anybody thought he would be. 23 of 31 for 239 and 3 touchdowns. But the pressure was on Kellen Mond, Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher. When are you going to step up? And, boy, Kellen Mond is stepping up.
Yeah, they've looked really good here in recent weeks. That was a beautiful just Arkansas swooping in the back door for that cover. Boy, that back door was just wide open, and Arkansas said, you know what? What the heck? Why don't we just come on in here and cover this spread for everybody out there? But, yeah, I mean, Mond has looked like the quarterback that people expected him to be. And, Barrett mentioned with Spiller, the running back, he is really, really good.
He's an NFL running back. When I first saw him,
that takes a lot of the pressure off Mond. So yeah, they've looked very solid offensively here. But and again, the schedule sets up for them the rest of the way. They've got a golden opportunity here to be able to get with only one loss and it beat Alabama and put yourself in a position to maybe somehow sneak into the playoff and be the team that gets killed in the first game.
Georgia won at Kentucky 14-3. They held Kentucky to 229 total yards. The Georgia defense has been terrific, and the Kentucky offense is anemic. They didn't have Terry Wilson, and he had been struggling. Joey Gatewood gets the start. The Auburn transfer goes 15 of 25 for 91 total yards. But there is a bad side to this for Georgia. Once again, with Stetson Bennett. 9 of 13 for 131, 2 picks. Now they're starting to question his lack of height, that it's an issue for him. Finding receivers, being able to look over the defensive line to be able to find his receivers. Moving ahead, like this weekend, I really don't see how Georgia wins. I think LSU has too many weapons offensively. Georgia's a great defensive team, unless it's a turnover fest and some freak weird things. I think just on paper, I think Florida's the better team.
Yeah, I mean, that offense is going to have to be able to do something. And I just don't understand, like, at what point is JT Daniels just not healthy enough?
Right.
Like, at some point, you'd have to put him in that game, don't you?
Yes.
Like, that was awful. And again, you're winning, and you weren't in threat. There was no threat you were going to lose the game. But that seems like, okay, well, let's at least see what he can do. Maybe he can breathe some life in his offense. If they're not putting him in there, to me, he must be still injured, and they just don't think he's healthy enough to play.
Yeah, that's a really good point. A couple of national games that we weren't able to get to earlier. Texas, we were both on Texas knocking off Oklahoma State. That was a wild game with Texas winning 41-34 in overtime. I first thought Tom Herman is screwing this up for Texas. They were up 3, and they went into that prevent defense. They dropped 8 guys, and they gave Oklahoma State and their quarterback plenty of time to find a receiver. Because if you have all day to throw it, even with 8 defensive backs, 8 guys dropping back, rather, you're going to find somebody. And they dinked and dunked all the way down to get the field goal, forced overtime. But in overtime, obviously, it bounced the way of Texas, and the Longhorns got a big win. And that was a critical loss for the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, Texas has no business winning that game other than Oklahoma State just couldn't hold on to the football. I mean, it was 530 to 287 in total yards. I mean, that was simply the 5 turnovers. When you go 5-0 in turnovers and lose and have to win in overtime like that. But again, it's the Big 12 can't get out of their own way.
Right.
They just keep having something happen and keep screwing it up, and that's the only reason I went with Texas, because that's just the way things are going for the Big 12. Here, Oklahoma State had a great opportunity, and they turned it over 5 times.
Yeah, mine was just a gut feeling. I just had a feeling, and probably because of those reasons you just mentioned. There was a similar game in the NFL where a team dominated offensively but turned it over so much that they lost. That was the Rams game against the Dolphins, as the Dolphins forced 4 turnovers in the first half alone. All right, so Clemson we talked about earlier. They were down 15. They rallied. Uiagalelei. Did I get that right? DJ Uiagalelei? That's right, isn't it?
See, I don't.
Angalale?
Yeah, it's just not. It's definitely not Lele. They were saying
DJ Uiagalelei. It just flows off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
not
correct.
easy. That's why Lele flows easier. That's why I think everybody wants to say Lele.
DJ Uiagalelei. So anyway, he ended up having a really good debut, and Clemson came back on BC. Not a bad team, Boston College, at all. But now they go to Notre Dame, and that's going to be the challenge this Saturday. We got Florida, Georgia. We have that game. We have the Pac-12 opening up. Things are really heating up. But also, with Trevor Lawrence missing that game, and now he's going to miss Saturday's game, which I never thought would happen, right? We were both saying this Friday. He'll play. I wonder about the Heisman. And so I was looking at a story during the last break, and Trevor Lawrence now is not the favorite anymore to win the Heisman. The odds-on favorite to win now is Alabama quarterback Mac Jones or Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields, who's only played 2 games. But because Trevor Lawrence is going to miss a couple of games, that he drops down. What do you think about that?
Well, if Justin Fields keeps playing the way he has through 2 games, I don't know that you could. The dude's basically been perfect through 2 games. So, and if with Lawrence missing some games, it kind of evens out the number of games they will play on the year total. I mean, Fields has what's Fields got 7 incompletions on the year through 2 games.
He's been on point. He's been on point.
Like the dude literally. I think going into the second half the other night, he still had like 1 incompletion for the season or something. Like, dude has been unbelievable these first 2 games.
Well, Lawrence was even money to win the Heisman Trophy at FanDuel before last week's positive test. He's now 2-1. He's completed 70.7% of his passes for 1,833 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions this season. BYU quarterback Zach Wilson is 30-1, so he's a long shot. How about Devontae Smith? They're never going to give it to a receiver, but my gosh, the game he had, Alabama beating Mississippi State 41-0. He had 11 catches for 203 yards and 4 touchdowns. Najee Harris and Florida quarterback Kyle Trask are all 50-1. So Smith, Harris, Trask, all 50-1. Travis Etienne, the running back for Clemson, 100-1. Again, this is all according to FanDuel.
Yeah, through his first 2 games, Justin Fields completing 87.3% of his passes. He's 48 for 55. He has 7 incompletions, 6 touchdowns.
I just gave you the Clemson numbers for the numbers for Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. What did I say? 70.7% completion?
Yes.
And it pales in comparison. Of course, only 2 games for Fields, but my gosh.
And
one of the games was against Penn State.
He has 1 more incompletion than touchdowns. If you add in his running touchdown, then he's got more. He's got more touchdowns than incompletions total.
Yeah, he's been on point, ready to go from the get-go.
It's just ridiculous how good he's looked through these first 2 games.
You know, there was another guy that I thought was really good, and it was the Boise State game, Jack Sears. I think there's like 100 USC transfer quarterbacks around the nation, and he's another one. And what's his name? Bachmeier couldn't go. Is that his name? The Boise State quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't that Gabe Bachmeier? He couldn't play. I always think of that because of Brockmire, the TV show. I think it's Bachmeier, and he couldn't go because of an injury. I don't think it was COVID. And Sears is a transfer from USC, and he started the game, and he was terrific. They beat Air Force 49-30, but he put up some big numbers.
By the way, this is good for Memphis. New Mexico played their first game of the year. They gave up 481 passing yards. Memphis is no longer last in pass defense.
Thank you, Lobos.
Among teams that have played multiple games, they're still last by 56 yards per game. But New Mexico, only having played 1 game, gave up 481 yards. So they're giving up 481 a game. Memphis is only giving up 406 a game.
All right, taking a look at some of the games for this weekend, the odds. Another darn big game, BYU and Boise State. It's a non-conference game, but BYU undefeated, Boise State off to an undefeated start, trying to be the Group of 5 New Year's 6 representative. BYU 2.5-point favorite on the Smurf turf game in Boise. From the American, SMU a 20.5-point favorite at Temple. Tulane is a 4-point favorite at East Carolina. Liberty and Virginia Tech, we talked about that earlier. Virginia Tech, 14.5-point favorite in Blacksburg against Hugh Freeze and the Liberty Flames. Houston is a 13.5-point underdog at Cincinnati. Tulsa is a 10.5-point favorite at Navy. Michigan is a 3-point favorite at undefeated Indiana. Let's see what else we have here. Wisconsin, if they play after missing last week, and we don't know if they're going to play, 8-point favorite over Purdue. UCLA gets their season started, 6-point favorite at Colorado. Arizona State, an 11.5-point dog at Southern Cal. Oregon at home, favored by 10 over Stanford. The Tigers, 17.5-point favorites over South Florida this Saturday, 11 o'clock kickoff, Liberty Bowl Stadium. Oklahoma State trying to bounce back, an 11.5-point favorite at Kansas State. Texas is a 6.5-point favorite over West Virginia at home. Florida and Georgia. Georgia a 3-point favorite over Florida. And you mentioned this earlier, 17.5, it's now 18. Mississippi State an 18-point favorite over Vanderbilt.
I mean, God, just think how bad you have to be when people are betting on a team to cover a 17-point spread when, again, that team hasn't scored 17 points in their last 4 games.
The over-under, Eli, is 49.5. 49.5. I guess the thought is there's going to be some defensive touchdowns. By judging by those two teams, that would be the only way they're going to score. Yes. I mean, you would think that would be an automatic under. Texas A&M is 7.5-point favorite at South Carolina. Clemson is a 5.5-point favorite at Notre Dame, 52 over or under with their backup quarterback. Tennessee back in action, a 1.5-point favorite at Arkansas. What do you think about that one? Vols favorite on the road at Razorback Stadium.
Arkansas just continues to play well. I don't know. And I'm not at this point. I'm not betting against Arkansas.
Yeah, they held up pretty well. You never thought they would win that game against Texas A&M. The Aggies were pretty much in control, but still not a bad effort by Sam Pittman's team. So you're watching the game. You see another ad for FanDuel Sportsbook. You think to yourself, is that legal here in the state of Tennessee? Well, you bet it is. Pun intended. FanDuel Sportsbook is now legal in Tennessee. You can place your first bet on FanDuel Sportsbook risk-free and get up to $1,000 back if you don't win. Seriously, there's no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in bonus site credit so you can take another swing at the end zone on the house. And with FanDuel Sportsbook, generous risk-free bets are just the beginning. They've got a simple app, live betting on every game, and exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays, where you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. And once you win on FanDuel Sportsbook, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. To claim your risk-free bet, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. We will take our final timeout, come back, got a little bit of news from the world of basketball and from NASCAR. Then we'll wrap it up with one final thing. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5 FM.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical-grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
911, what's your emergency?
This car, an SUV, it was going across, it went around the barrier and the train. Oh God.
Ma'am, did a train hit an SUV? Is that what happened?
Yes, the train is still going. The train is going and the car, I can't believe it.
You can't judge the speed of an approaching train. That's why the signals are there. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Are you shopping for a new watch, an engagement ring, any kind of jewelry at all? What's up, Memphis? This is Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Grizzlies, encouraging you all to shop where I shop, Platinum Jewelers here in Memphis. Platinum Jewelers has a big selection of earrings, stockable rings, luxury watches, necklaces, bracelets, really whatever you need. They do custom jewelry and have 2 locations in the area. One is 545 Perkins Extended in East Memphis. The other is 9387 Poplar next to Fresh Market in Germantown. So if you need anything jewelry related, go to my spot, Platinum Jewelers.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
He was a hard-headed man. He was brutally handsome. She was terminally pretty.
Couple of texts here. Someone says, what is the purpose of a conference admitting an official error? It serves no purpose.
Exactly.
It's just them acknowledging what everybody else sees and saying, yeah, there was a mistake made. But no, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't make the team that lost feel any better or anything else. It's just saying, yep, we understand our referees screwed that up. And we're sorry. Sorry to you who lost. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Raider Corey texted in. He's talking about the FanDuel app. He said it was a user-friendly experience. Took a while for the promotion to kick in. $50 free play for signing up. My current bet slip never populated. I love the early cash-out feature and almost used it, but I thought Dallas getting 11.5 points was going to be enough. Well, that was your fault. Like if you thought Dallas was going to cover any spreads. They haven't yet this year. I went 4-1 on my 5 small wagers. I'm not a huge gambler. All in all, it was a very fun experience, and since all the kinks are worked out, going to be awesome.
Good.
Yeah,
Glad it went well for you.
It's nice to have it available for folks here in Tennessee. They did say apparently the first wager on FanDuel in the state was somebody who bet a dime on the Colts. Literally a dime.
You can bet less than $1?
Yeah. They bet a dime. They won 18 cents. They without 8 cents.
Oh my gosh.
So congratulations. It's a big win right there. That one right there. That's how you get that bankroll started.
It adds up, baby.
It's a win. Hey, better to win that bet than lose a dime. Fleet Feet, the place to go to your running gear. Get shoes just right for you by going to see them at either one of the 2 locations. They'll take a look at the way you run or walk and fit you with shoes just right for you. You can see them in East Memphis in the Laurelwood Shopping Center next to Panera Bread Company. You can also find them in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levy, right there next door to the Hueys. Either location, you could go in and they're runners in there. They're all about runners. And so they can help you out. If you're looking for any gear that you might need, they've got it for you at Fleet Feet. But again, you want to make sure you've got shoes right for you, and that's what they'll do at Fleet Feet at either one of those 2 locations. You can also find them online at fleetfeetmemphis.com. And eventually, one of these days, they'll get back to doing their group runs and other things that they like to do. Once all the COVID stuff is behind us, they'll be getting back to that. But you can also, again, find them online at fleetfeetmemphis.com.
We had Alan Cabana on Friday talking about the NASCAR race in Martinsville, which was the second to last race. This weekend, it's Phoenix to wrap up the season. And he talked about the fact that he felt Kevin Harvick may be left out. Kevin Harvick ends up not making the finals. A guy who won the regular season championship in the Cup. 9 wins during the regular season. Harvick will not be racing for the title. Chase Elliott was the winner at Martinsville. So Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, who already qualified, Brad Keselowski, and Denny Hamlin in that FedEx machine will be the 4 vying for the title this weekend in Phoenix.
Yeah, it was. As he said, it was virtually impossible for Harvick not to make it.
I know.
And he somehow managed to pull that off. He went San Diego, or not, he went L.A. Chargers on him. He somehow found a way to blow a massive lead and not get there for the final race. Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
Well, I've been promoting FanDuel, and you knew this was coming down the pike with it official. Now sports gambling is legal in the state of Tennessee. Today, the Memphis Grizzlies and FanDuel Group announced a multi-year partnership, making FanDuel an official sports betting partner and the exclusive official daily fantasy partner of the Grizzlies. The deal marks the Grizzlies' first partnership with a sports betting operator and FanDuel's first partnership with an NBA team for sports betting. How about that? I had no idea. It's FanDuel's first partnership with an NBA team, and it happens to be your Memphis Grizzlies.
So John Lester of the Cubs, they bought out the final year of his contract. Now, they may still look to bring him back as a free agent, but right now he's a free agent pitcher. But as a thank you to the city of Chicago and all the Cubs fans for his years there, he basically opened up a beer tab this weekend. He tweeted out that there were 4 different bars you could go to, and your first Miller Lite was on him. You just had to say, put it on John's tab. Well, in the end, he ended up buying 4,838 Miller Lites and spent nearly $33,000 this weekend with tip included, with all of everything else. He actually tweeted on Saturday that he got a fraud warning from his credit card company because of it. But yeah, he was tipping very nicely because he kept tweeting out the receipts, and he was tipping very nicely. Spent $33,000, bought 4,838 beers this weekend for Cubs fans.
Look, I think it's a nice gesture. I know that's a lot of money, and for him it's really not. He's made an awful lot of money. But I didn't think it would even be close to $33,000. Just again, in the world we're living in now, people going out to the bars. I saw that story and I thought, it'll probably be about $10,000, $15,000. No, Almost triple that.
I don't know how much was actual cost and how much was tip, but again, he was tipping very, very generously because I think he tweeted out every receipt, and it had his tip on there and everything else. He was being very friendly.
If you missed it earlier, I mentioned this email that we got from the University of Memphis. The University of Memphis will host Memphis Madness on Thursday, November 12th at 7 p.m. as a virtual event to officially introduce the 2020-2021 men's and women's basketball teams to Tiger fans. So once again, it'll be all virtual. As expected, it will be a week from Thursday. Our thanks to Barrett Salih for joining us on the program today. Tomorrow, among our guests, Connor O'Gara. We'll also talk with Jeff Crane from the University of Memphis. We'll have our Humdingers trivia, 2.5 questions tomorrow, our NFL 3 stars, and our 5 favorite songs. Again, the word think or thought needs to be in the title of your song. Stay tuned. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio is coming up next. For Eli Savoy and for Gabe Kuhn, I'm Greg Gaston. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody.
Head in the box. Must think I'm dumb.